your Huckleberry.
Good evening and welcome to the Mercedes regular meeting of September 17th, 2024. It is 6:30 p.m. I now call this meeting to order. First, I'll establish a quorum. I have Dr. Commissioner Howell. I have Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Saldana. We have Commissioner Martinez on the way here, and myself, Mayor Montoya. We're all present. Next will be the invocation. Commissioner Dr. Saldana, if you wouldn't mind, sir, leading us in invocation.
I've got a prayer or two in me. Y'all would join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for bringing us together here for this good work that we're trying to do for the city of Mercedes. We ask that you guide us, that you bless all the work that we're doing, and that we may make decisions that will be beneficial for our community. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Martinez, if you wouldn't mind leading us in the pledge, sir.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen. Next we have open forum. I believe nobody has signed up, Ms. Secretary. Okay, moving on to, I'd like to entertain a motion to, we have a request to move item 9A and B up as the presenters have to go present to probably another city that's competing with us, but we'll go ahead and allow it.
Make a motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Howell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, motion carries. Moving on to item 9A then, ordinance and resolutions. Item A, consideration and approval of an ordinance authorizing the issuance of City of Mercedes, Texas combination tax and limited pledge revenue certificates of obligation, Series 2024, providing for the payment of said certificate by the levy of an ad valorem tax upon all taxable property within the city, and further securing said certificates by a lien on and pledge of the pledged revenues of the system, and providing the effective date. Order 2024-12. All right.
That's a long one to read, fellas.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Bobby Villarreal, Don Gonzalez, and Matt Lujan with Estrada and Hosa, your financial advisors. As you know, we've been working with Albert and Meredith for quite some time, trying to get this deal to market. I want to thank them for all the efforts and hard work it took to get to that point. It was a lot of sausage being made, and I want to thank Meredith and Albert for that as well. Again, if you look at page 1, just the market for this week, Laredo, the city of Laredo, and its water and sewer system and some revenue bonds were out in the market. You as well, a few other deals today. Again, the market, as you know, has been kind of an inverted yield for quite some time now. We're not certain what's going to happen in the next day or two about what the Fed's going to do about rates. But having said that, today was, I guess, sort of the deadline in a sense, because you're setting your tax rate, and legally we had to have this debt authorized prior to you setting the tax rate. So that was why today was a sort of a magic day to make sure we did that before your fiscal year end. And again, I'll just move over to page 4, just your outstanding debt, revenue debt that the city has, outstanding general. You have roughly about 23 million outstanding on the general fund side, and solely on the revenue side for the utility is about $1.6 million. And again, if you notice there, the bars, they're pretty level, and they're going to be cascading down over the next few years. So that'll be allowing you some capacity in the next few years to continue to improve the city. And again, if you go to page 6, just a recap of the financing team. Again, Estrada and Hosa, Norton Rose Fulbright was your bond attorney. Samco Capital Markets were the underwriter. And today, and Matt will detail some of the action that happened today, but Samco, a credit to them, they were the underwriter, and so what they do is they market the bonds to the world or to New York and to see who's going to purchase them. So Matt will detail it, but those certain maturities, you have 20 different maturities, and certain ones needed to be underwritten and taken in, and Samco did that for us today. And again, you're an S&P A+ rated, and again, we got insurance on these, so that he elevated the credit of the city to a AA. And again, right now, the valuation of the city is about 881 million. And going to page 7, the bond proceeds will be about 6.76 million.
Bobby, did you say they elevated us from an A plus to double A?
With insurance.
Yeah, with
Oh,
insurance.
okay.
So you
That's
pay.
not just out of the goodness of their
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah, thank you.
So there's an insurance company that makes sure they validate that you're not going to renege on paying your debt.
Alright.
And so it costs a little bit to buy it, but it gets you a better rate.
Okay.
And again,
But it doesn't change our responsibilities and all that.
no.
Okay.
So again, the usage of these funds for utility system improvements, about 5.78 million. General fund equipment was about 973. Contingency, about 238,000. And again, overall was 7.254 million. And again, the project fund was about, Matt, was it 7? Project fund would be 7? 7 million. So there'll be 7 million in the funds for the city to utilize. And again, I think I'll turn it over to Matt to discuss the how the rates went today.
Thank you, Bobby. For the record, Matt Lujan with Estrada and Nahosa. So as Bobby mentioned, this has been in the works for a few weeks or a few months, excuse me. I started with the notice of intent that was back in July. So today was the sale, and congratulations to the city on a successful sale. Samco, who were the underwriters that Bobby mentioned, marketed the bonds for the city's bonds from 9 a.m. this morning to 10 a.m. And overall total oversubscription was 2.8 times. There were some maturities, especially in the front end, that were unsold. So Samco did underwrite those bonds, and they took them in. But overall, very successful on the far end, as much as 7 times oversubscribed. That means that maturity had enough interest that was 7 times what the maturity size was for that particular maturity. So if we're looking at page 8, Bobby went over the sources and uses. You can see that a little more detailed on the left-hand side. Bobby mentioned the insurance, and you can see the insurance premium was $27,000. So that's what was part of this financing to get the city from an A plus to a double A rating. And then on the far right, that table shows it by maturity, the progression over the last couple of days. So the first set says pre-marketing. That was from yesterday. So what Samco did yesterday was they went out and they got feedback from investors and to see if there's any changes they wanted to make to the pricing. Then they went out today with the release wire, which is the 3 columns in the middle, and then you can see the final wire, which is what we're presenting to you tonight for approval. And then what we did on the far right is just showed adjustments based on the oversubscription or undersubscription by maturity. So you can see in red those top earlier maturities. Those were adjustments that were made that were not beneficial to the city. So those were the maturities that were unspoken for, and Samco underwrote the majority of those. So you can see 6 basis points, 10 basis points, 10 basis points, and so forth of adjustments. So they just increase the yield by those amount of basis points. And then conversely, towards the back, you can see towards the end, you can see the green maturity. So those are oversubscriptions, and so they made adjustments that in favor of the city. So overall, the interest rate, you can see at the bottom, ended up being a 4.063%. To put this in perspective, what we showed you all for the plan of finance when you approved the notice of intent, we were showing about a 5.25.
5.25, yeah.
So quite a big difference, over $1 million difference in total debt service. And then with the adjustments that we show you here, the net change was about $100,000 positive in the city's benefit from what was shown yesterday, pre-marketing to what the adjustments that were made after the over period with Samco today.
And just to clarify, when Matt says 7 times oversubscribed, in layman's terms, it means if you have $100 that you're selling, there's people willing to buy $700 of it.
Yeah.
So then you go back to them and you knock down the interest rate.
Thank you, Bobby.
And just to be clear, because obviously you're a lot smarter than I am. So I'm trying to catch up with you, right? But I think the premium that we paid for the insurance and the work that you all put into this, the benefit of those $27,000, we're gonna see it 5 times, correct?
So yeah, so there's a benefit. So we look at the break-even point. So we look at what would have priced without insurance versus what it priced with insurance, and the benefit of the insurance outweighed not having insurance. So that insurance is in these numbers. So it's not an additional amount the city will pay. It's part of the proceeds.
Right, part of the savings. We're gonna realize, that's gonna get paid when we realize the savings from having the insurance on the interest rate? Is that the way it works?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, Mayor.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
it helped reduce the total insurance cost.
All right, thank you.
If we move on to slide 9, this is the estimated tax rate impact analysis. As Bobby mentioned, part of these proceeds is going to be used for general fund improvements. So you can see columns F, G, and H. That's the bonds that are that were sold this morning. Of that, if you look at just focus on the first year payment, which is fiscal year 25, you can see in column H that payment for the entire debt service for that year is $945,000. We're saying that the city is going to pay approximately $875,000 of that by the water and sewer rates. So that puts the estimated INS tax rate at about 29 cents for your debt service tax rate. And then if we move on to slide 10, this is the other portion that's contributing to the debt service from the utility system. So you can see we show audited numbers going back to 21 we project through 2030 based on projected rates from the city. And then you can see that we show the debt service of the one that was sold today. Towards the bottom, there's a line that says less proposed series 2024, and you can see those payments starting in 25 as well. And this is the portion that's supposed to be contributed from the utility system. This is subject to change annually. Just want to make that clear that the commission can change this as you get into your budget season. So you can obviously change your tax rate, and you can change what comes from the utility system. But this is as we understand it today, what should be paid for by each one, the INS tax rate and the utility system revenues. And then if there's no questions there, we'll just move to the preliminary timetable of events. So you can see we did the notice of intent back in July. We're here today on September 7th. We had the pricing. We're in front of you for consider approval of the sale of these bonds. If it's approved, the interest rate that we showed you, that will be locked in. That's a fixed rate that will be for the duration of the 25-year term.
Oh, it's not locked in right now. That's where it's at right now.
It's locked in. We received a verbal award from
Oh,
the
okay,
city.
all right, okay. So
And
it's
then
locked
the
in.
formal action, we'll be able to lock it in with the bond
Okay, good.
purchase agreement. And then the next important date for the city would be October 3rd. So it's only about 2 weeks or so would be the closing of these bonds. That's when the city would have the funds, the proceeds, funds from the proceeds in the city's account.
Mayor, City Manager, so this vote is for the approval of the sale of the bonds then?
That's correct. So I have a, oh, go ahead. Yeah, I'll save it till the end.
Mayor, I think that's all we wanted to point out. I'm going to turn over to Don. We did include at the back there's Appendix A, which is the rating report. So as Bobby mentioned, there's a lot of work that went into this. Mr. Pettis and Mr. Hernandez were very instrumental in maintaining the rating for the city. So we included the rating report from S&P in here. You can see what S&P had to say about the city through that rating process.
So Matt, real quick, between you and Don, I just want to say for the public that's here or that's listening, when you hear a lot of this about good work and burning the midnight oil and I want to thank you all and thank our staff because there's barn burners and then there's barn burners. And this barn was on fire before y'all even got started. The timeline to get to where we're at today was so tight that I really, Albert kept telling me it's going to get done. Bobby told me at 10 o'clock at night it was going to get done. That should tell you how bad out my concern. And what people don't see is the reason behind it is that if we hadn't done this, we wouldn't be able to put ourselves, which I know USW and some of y'all that understand water out there, engineers and stuff, would understand our situation, where we're at, and where the water situation is, and where that would have put Mercedes. So I can't thank you enough on our behalf for all the work that you guys put into those tight 3 weeks, because I kept count. It was 3 weeks from start to finish what you guys all did together. So Albert, you, Meredith, your staff, Bobby, Matt, Don, y'all staff, I can't say thank you enough because it was a real concern to us. And now we're going to be able to provide what needed to be provided to our citizens because of y'all's hard work. So anyway, go ahead, Don. I didn't want to steal your thunder, but I just want to make sure I said that before you all went on.
Mayor, I would just say very well said. And I'd like to maybe just hit on a couple of things and then share a little bit of information. If you'll turn to page 9 for just a moment. One of the things that I want to emphasize that Matt mentioned in column H. If you look down column H, the first year, we've got a big payment scheduled at $945,317. That is a really big payment. The bulk of that is going to be paid by what's in column I. That is $875,317. The only way that the city is in a position to do that is because of what you've done over the last couple of years in terms of not just increasing, water and sewer rates, but really managing the city's finances, because you've looked at where you can cut, you've looked at where you can make some adjustments, and it takes the combination of those things in order to make these numbers work. The real tough part for us was looking at the very next year, 2026. The payment drops by 2/3 from 945,000 down to 340,000. And what we're trying to do with that, you'd probably say, well, why are our bond payments going to go down so much? Well, the reason it does for this particular transaction is we were trying to set up the city for the next transaction, assuming that you're going to get hopefully a pretty nice grant from the Texas Water Development Board, and then be able to issue the part that they're going to require you, because they don't just give you a grant. They'll say, we'll give you some grant money, but you're going to need to take on some debt. And so there's a match basically what you have to think of with the city. So in order for you to qualify for that grant money, what they're going to say is, are your rates, are your finances, is your management, are all those things in place to where if we give you this grant money, that you're going to be able to execute on it. And what you have to have, and you have to already be set up to be able to make that bond payment, because you can't just say, oh, well, I'll just increase rates again next year by a huge amount. It'll take too much pressure on the citizens, right? So what we've done here is you've already done the hard part of raising rates in a very manageable manner over the last few years so that you're not putting too much pressure on the citizens. But what we've tried to do is take that and keep that in mind, what you've already done, and structure the debt, this particular debt, so that we're set up for what may come if you do get that grant money. And so if you're looking at, I'm going to make up numbers, let's say you're looking at $20 million in total that you would receive from the Water Development Board, and let's say you receive about half of that, 10 million in grant. Well, if you're not financially positioned to do that, it doesn't matter how much grant money they give you, because you still have to take on this debt, and that debt would put you in a position to have to increase water and sewer rates by a significant amount, not by the minor amount that's probably going to be baked in for next year. So that's one of the biggest things when I look at it from my perspective that needed to be done was, you're doing your part, we've got to make sure we're doing our part in helping position the city to be able to take advantage of what's coming next, not just thinking of the here and now. And so I point this out because that's what we call going from the science to the art of financial advisory work, and making sure that we position you to be able to do those kinds of things next year and the year after that and the year after that. So with that bit said, what I really want to do is reiterate what you said, Mayor, in terms of the late nights. I would even say the weekends, Meredith, and your city manager, Mr. Pettis, and I know others. And they probably said at some point in time in their heads, they didn't say it out loud.
No, they did, that it wasn't worth it. Yeah, they did.
they probably.
Every time I called Albert, he goes to church.
Well, Matt was
Working the
afraid
bee.
that Meredith was blocking his calls because he was calling her so many times, and so after a while they were like, "Okay, Don, you call." They don't see your number very often, but no, they did an incredible amount of work and in a very short period of time. The due diligence questions, the rating agency questions. They're getting more and more difficult, and they don't want just a simple yes or no answer. That used to work probably about 3 or 4 years ago. Now what they want is, you can give me the yes or no, but then I want an explanation and I want support for that answer. So you can't just say, well, here's what's going to happen. They're going to say, okay, if that's what's going to happen, show me in black and white what you have to support your answer to that particular question. And so in that process, the due diligence that's being done and required is much more challenging than what it used to be. I'd say years ago, people just, if you said it, they believed it and they moved on. That's not the case anymore. The rating agencies have become more skeptical. The attorneys that are working on this, that are doing the due diligence, they're wanting to check everything, but not just check it. It's like, show me the proof. And so all that process took a significant amount of time. And so I really want to say thank you to them for all that work, because it was a lot. You're right, Mayor, and in a very compressed time. And the best part about it was to be able to say what the city did 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year has positioned you to do what you're doing now, and for what you may be able to do next year and the year after that, especially if you get that grant money. That grant money would be huge. I mean, if you're talking, and I will tell you, about 5 years ago, the Water Development Board, if you were getting grant money, you were getting maybe $2, maybe $3 million. Now there's a potential for somewhere in the $7 to $10 million range. We don't know what's going to happen. It kind of depends on where you rank, how big your projects are and all that. But if you're not positioned for it, even if you qualify for it, you won't be able to do it. So my congratulations to you all on that. And those were basically the comments I wanted to share with you all, and my thanks, especially to the city manager and to Meredith. It did fantastic work.
And I think one last thing for the citizens. I hate to even do this, but that's real important, because nobody took these actions of increasing cost on our citizens any more serious than your commission did. And it was something that was hard, wasn't easy, but I think it's important that we talk about when we went out for bonds desperately the last time. We were lucky we got anybody to loan us money. And this time we were able to go out in the market and have people asking us if we had more debt, which says a lot about, and I am going to give credit to the commission because of the tough calls that they've had to make, but especially to the city manager and to y'all working together, because, I mean, I don't think people, unless you're here, and then that's our fault, but I think we've become much more transparent from before. And I think the citizens are seeing that, the transparency, but it was very depressing to hear that we were in deep need of funding back then. And, we were expecting to sit here for an hour looking at everybody that applied to come loan us money, and to find out that, y'all had to scratch people together to do it so that we could get two. So I think, again, I wanted to reiterate that, or at least bring that up and tell you that it didn't go unnoticed on both sides of that. So I don't know if anybody else has anything.
I just very quick. I know Forbes magazine on Monday had an article up on the website. Fed's supposedly this week supposed to raise rates. So like what's always said, it's never going to be any cheaper than it is today.
Yeah.
These decisions have already been made, discussed, and we've had some tough little discussions. But now it's about moving forward, and like you said, Don, I think it's a strategy. I think it's about playing chess, or chess, not checkers. And this is an investment to the city to move this city forward and the citizens. So with that being said, I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion from Commissioner Howes. I have a second.
A second.
Second by Commissioner Saldana. Any discussion?
Mayor, if I may, just
Yes.
one last point. There were 11 investors that
Nice.
came in to purchase these bonds, ranging from a low of 300,000 to a high of about 3.2 million. And the total deal was 7 million. So you had almost one investor that said, I'll take half the deal.
Nice.
And so that's a nice cross-section of investors that were coming in for the bonds.
Well,
So-
tell them they're welcome to come take a picture with us and spend some money in Mercedes. Thank you. Thank you, Don. Appreciate that.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
That does feel good. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to, gentlemen, thank you. Good luck on your next presentation. Moving on to, items, 9B, public, I'm sorry,
6A. You wanna
Six
go
A
back?
is what. we're going back.
I only did 9B. I didn't do the public hearing. Right. Let me just finish off item 9. Yeah, let me go, item 9B, second public hearing regarding the voluntary annexation of Las Cabañas subdivision. Item 1 is approval of the first reading of the ordinance 2024-13 regarding the voluntary annexation of Cabañas subdivision. And I will now open the public hearing for 2 minutes. It's 6:55 PM. I will close at 6:57.
Just make sure it's not a separate item. Aye. All right, it's 6:57 PM. I now close this hearing. Move on to item BI, approval of first reading of ordinance 2024-13 regarding the voluntary annexation of Las Cabañas subdivision. Like the,
Oh. Let's see, where we at? 9B?
6A.
yeah, 9BI, approval of first
I-
reading of ordinance 2024-13.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve, I move for approval of first reading of ordinance 2024-13 regarding voluntary annexation of Las Cabanas subdivision.
You want to read the ordinance? You want to forego the reading? Would you like to forego the reading or do you?
And forego the reading. Yes, sir.
I have a motion by Commissioner Saldana. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item 6A, project updates.
We have any who put the project up?
Dilapidated. Dilapidated, right?
No. Oh. No, we're good.
Is it,
It's only if you needed to.
anything you want to put out about?
Good evening, Mayor, City Commission. I did want to give you an update from our last presentation having to do with 10th Street overlay. I think at that meeting, we committed to finding out about there was one test remaining to verify, and that was the thickness of the asphalt. We did have the core test done. We did get the results on Monday. All of the 4 core tests that were performed passed. So they had it 2 or at least 2 inches of asphalt. So that, coupled with the fact that the testing on the base came back as well as passed, we're comfortable with announcing that it's in our opinion that road is complies with the specifications. So just wanted to give that brief update.
Okay, all right, thank you. So everything's good. We're good to go.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr.
anybody else have a project update?
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to item B, introduction of the new planning director.
Mayor and Commissioners wanted to introduce Mr. Pettis. You want to come forward for a second, sir? Introduce yourself. Yeah, right there.
How are you doing, Commissioner and Mayor? I guess I'm honored to be here at City of Mercedes. Mr. Perez has given me an opportunity to prove what I can do, bring my experiences from Urban County, with Hidalgo County, in various departments, not only in planning, but in CDBG functions and also in state grant. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys, and thank you for the opportunity to be working for you guys and the citizens of Mercedes.
And you also worked in McAllen?
Oh yeah, I was a code enforcement officer. Well, I still am. So I bring code enforcement, and I know the job it takes, and it's something that's an ongoing issue that's never gonna end. But like I said, I'm working with our code enforcement officer and helping citizens, maybe complain as less, but we're here to work with them and educate them and do what we can to maybe drop those complaints a little bit lower.
Education before citation?
Always. That's what I believe in.
I love that, yeah.
Well, welcome aboard. I know that after the interview that Mr. Pettis had with you, no relation, I understand.
Right.
Yes, I'm not from the
Go on
valley.
record.
I'm not from the valley, so I'm
important
not,
disclosure.
I'm not, any Perez here in the valley, I'm not related.
So welcome aboard. I understand you came in with a lot of energy, and we appreciate that. And
Thank you,
it sounded like you hit the road running. So welcome.
Appreciate
Go
it,
ahead.
thank you.
Get some?
That's what we need. That's
Oh
what
yeah.
You'll
More
need it.
energy, the better.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Thank you. and Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Welcome.
Moving on to item C, Community Educational Outreach Project, COP.
Yes, Mayor, Honorable Commission, I just have a quick little presentation with a project that we're doing with the police department and other citizens in the community. It's about four or five slides. Won't take more than 5 minutes. All right, perfect. So first presentation, the first slide here is no matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world. John Keating. And this is the part of what I believe is a great investment to our community. It's a community educational outreach project, what we also call the CEOP. This project is dedicated to preventing dropouts, youth crime in underserved neighborhoods and rural areas. Addressing dropout rates and community needs, this program is focusing on that as well. Research from Harvard University, a project that was done in 2006, found that schools engaging and communities engaging with parents and communities see a reduction in dropout rates. Here currently with the city of Mercedes, we have a dropout of 2.2%. Now, with these type of projects done by the community and outreach, we can reduce dropout rates from 25 to 30%. I'm just gonna give like a little overview. We can be the difference, and I'm asking support from the city. Again, the police department, Chief Sanchez has been instrumental in helping me with this, and we're about to start these little projects and outreach. Community outreach project, committee bridges gaps between school and parents in underserved neighborhoods through town hall and advisory council. Parents become more involved in their children's education, a critical factor in preventing dropouts, increasing school attendance, youth crime, and increasing better grades. And those are all positive things that we look for as an educator, as a parent, and as a community. The community educational resource boxes, that is a small little project right now that we're working. Some kids from Indian Hills are helping me with that. And I'm excited about that because it's kids from within Indian Hills that are at Woodshop at the high school. They're building these boxes and what we call the CERB, Community Education Resource Boxes. And their initiative, we're gonna place these boxes in maybe 2 or 3 different areas and neighborhoods to start off. And these boxes, kind of like your little libraries, will provide GED information, educational and material, social services, information from the city, any healthcare information, anything like that, we will be able to stick in these resource boxes. Initially, like I said, we're targeting about 2 or 3 neighborhoods to start off with. And a study from Yale University found that underserved communities offering school-related resources and outreach programs like this one experience a 20 to 25% decrease, again, in dropout rates and school attendance. So preventing youth crime is huge. Like I mentioned, this is part of the project that's targeting that. Getting involved as a community, doing these outreach are critical. And a little information there. Police Sanchez emphasized that students staying in school helps reduce crime rates and reinforce the role of education in preventing juvenile offenses in underserved neighborhoods. A data point in research that I want to share with y'all is a research from Yale Center of Emotional Intelligence in 2019 shows that students who remain in school and engage in structural activities are less likely to get involved in crime. And Harvard did a very similar study, and that's these programs like this contribute about a 30% reduction in juvenile crime. So, again, we can be the difference. This is the last slide here before we move on. I'm seeking partnership with the city. I'm seeking partnership with police department, other citizens. With great partnerships and initiative programs like this, with the school and city working together, we can be the difference. Currently, Mercedes has over 72.2% of our students are considered at risk. That's right, 72.2. This was a study, an article by the Texas Tribune. However, the fact is that community engagement improves student educational outcomes, dropout rates, and youth crime significantly. Despite these alarming numbers, we continued partnerships with the city and other resources that we may get help with. Our kids and our future, our kids all are our future. MISD has a graduation rate of 92.2%. And this is why we must continue these type of projects, because of these type of numbers. However, there's a gap, and I'm looking forward to closing those gaps. And with the help of the city, with the help of the police department, and the help of citizens, we can do that. Blessings and prosperity. Thank you very much. That was pretty much it. Kind of rushed it a little bit.
Okay. Appreciate that, Doc.
Yes.
Moving on to item D, update on dilapidated structures.
Commissioner and Mayor, Mr. Alvaro has been working on these structures since last year. I think he came with a report to us where all of a sudden he had taken care of 18 homes or lots. And so he continues to work on this. This is without any enforcement or arm twisting or pushing people.
complaints.
Yeah, or
That's what's
complaints.
shocking.
So I've asked him to come and give us an update because he's got a few more that he's worked on. He's got the before and after pictures, and wanted to thank him for the hard work and effort that he has obviously exerted towards this endeavor and keeps going.
Yes, sir. Yes, good evening, Commission, Mayor, City Managers. So I just put up a few slides just to, brief you on some of the structures that they've been working on. We presented this already to the building and standards. We have 4 more going up on the next meeting next month. So these are just a few slides that people have either, complied, they fixed up their homes or completely demolished them. And I just have a few slides just to give you an update of what's going on there. You want to start one? Oh, all right. Just the arrow forward. Okay. This is one of them, 725 Palm Heights. This is the one on the left. It was what used to be the house, and this is what's sitting there. Brand new home, beautiful home, in the middle of the subdivision, brand new driveway, everything. The next slide here. Oops, there you go. This one, I'm sure everybody knows that. I mean, it's still there, but with all the graffiti. There's another structure actually on the other side. It's not in the picture, facing the playground, where they demolished the structure in the back as well, and they put up a new fence. The owner was in California. I talked to him last year, and I told him, hey, well, maybe just a fresh coat of paint will go a long way, and he did, and it's something that is not a lot, but for the community, people driving by, it actually means a lot. This one is it's on 166 North Colorado. This one they did a full remodel, brand plumbing, electrical, pretty much the whole 9 yards in this one. So that's the way it turned out. Oops. This one here, this is on 945 West 3rd. The one on the left used to be there. Now it's going to be a future parking lot for a church. And it's actually ongoing right now. They started doing the work and laying out all the foundation and pretty much all the stuff. So that's another one that it's no longer there, so it's gonna be a parking lot. This one it's ongoing as we speak. The owner came in and applied for a full remodel. He's gonna be putting up a new driveway and everything. So this one is again they demolished pretty much the whole interior. They're gonna put up new plumbing, electrical, brand new roof. And this one here, 121 North Colorado, and this is ongoing as well. There's the new owner also purchased a lot next door, and they have I didn't put it there in the picture, but he's building a brand new duplex in it, brand new. And this one is right next to it, which he's fully remodeling as well. This one, 216 South Indiana, is where 2nd Street Pizza Hut is. That was demolished at the sometime in the beginning of the year, I believe. This one, so it's no longer there. This one on 314 Palm, that's the house that it used to be. Now this is a brand new home there. And that's going to be another one that is going to be already starting to be put up right next to it. The new owner just came in and pulled up the permit and paid for it. So probably within the next week or two, there's going to be a brand new home right next to it as well. This one here, 410 Francis, this home was sitting like in the middle of 2 lots. Right, so the owner decided to, demolish it. So he's going to be proposing building 2 new homes, right? He's going to take advantage of the 2 lots. So he'll be probably submitting an application for 2 new homes there. This one on 200 North Missouri, I've been working with them because they really don't have a lot of, I guess money. I'm trying to work with them as they go. So they've been doing quite a few stuff there, in the interior. And the one on the left, it used to be a bunch of tires there, trash inside and everything, has been abandoned for some time. So one thing that I told them that I was gonna require on my end, that's gonna have the driveway. So I didn't have any room for a driveway, so I kind of brought it up. Hey, why don't you just open up a little area there on the left and make it a driveway? So that's what they're doing. On the one on the left, they're gonna accommodate a driveway, possibly maybe a garage or something. But they're working slow on this one. So, but they are working on it. This one right now, 856 South Vermont, it's ongoing. There's gonna be a full remodel as well. It's gonna have a brand new driveway at the time where they called for the final. So this is ongoing. This is going on right now as we speak. This one, I just wanted to throw it out there. This is one of the things that when I first came into the city, I got shocked, right? I found out that I thought it was Weslaco when I first started here, but actually found out that it belongs to the city of Mercedes. And I reached out to the owner, and we met, and I told him what happened. Supposedly that he gathered the property the way it was. And they had look at the areas on the left, they had a bunch of soap dispensers. They were using it as a fence or a barrier or something. And they had just bunch of tires all over the place. So he redid the whole property, put up everything. So he removed all the soap dispensers from there. The tires, he got rid of a bunch of tires, and now he has some 18-wheelers just kind of storing there. He just had all those tires to the middle of the elements, and stuff.
Is this
So-
west or east?
I'm sorry?
West?
West.
Yes.
Right there by Sosa's Auto.
Okay, on the
Yeah.
north side, yeah.
Yeah, right on the
Gotcha.
corner. Right on the corner. Yeah. So he's been working on it. It's a big improvement. Just the fact that he got rid of all those tires, just for being exposed to the elements. And this is another one that I met with the owner and the tenants, and I brought it up. I mean, look at the one on the left. They had a bunch of tires. The roof was kind of dilapidated, and he put up a fresh new coat of paint, and it goes a long way. And now, I mean, he removed all the tires from there, and I told him just to be vigilant about not accumulating the tires, just to, sorry. And this one here on 537 South Virginia, this is one of the homes that we had for condemnation. I reached out to Purdue, the tax attorneys, and I spoke to Ms. Caso. And so this property already did a final judgment on it. So actually, they had him scheduled for market for sale next year. So I asked, because this is an ongoing problem, say, hey, can you do it any faster? I said, well, let me try. So she reached out back to me and said that she's gonna put it before the end of the year. So hopefully somebody buys it and either remove it or do something to it. But it seems like they have some people already calling in that are interested on the property, so probably be sold soon. This one here, I met with one of the brothers owners there on site last week. So, I mean, right now they're going through some issues with family, but he reassured me that that this property, I think they're just gonna demolish it. They've been holding on for so long to see what they wanted to do with the property, but it becomes imminent that they're just gonna get rid of it. And I think they own a home right next door, and I think both of them, they're pretty much gonna get rid of them. So that's an update on that. And this one here, I also met with a new owner. He's the owner of a very famous restaurant across the street here in West Laco, Nana's, Mr. Trevino, very nice guy. So his intent is to fix up the property in the very near future. He doesn't know still what he's gonna do, but he's told me that he's gonna do something nice with that property as well. And pretty much we got some word. This is what we have going on for next month for the next Building and Standards Commission, these 4 properties.
Mayor, I got a question.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you raised it.
One question I had, do you have a sense of the proportion of the owners of these properties, investors versus the homeowners? I mean, how many people have purchased these as investments versus people that maybe are either owners or heirs or
Right.
something like that?
I wouldn't have a number on that, Commissioner, but there's a mixture for sure. But I wouldn't give you exact numbers. But we have a mixture of owners, or either they have investors that have come into the city and willing to invest, and we told them what's required from the city's standards. Hey, we gotta bring up the house, you gotta bring it up to to building standards, pretty much.
At some point, and I know you're not sitting around with nothing to do, but it would be nice, because this is the second report like this that we've gotten of an extensive listing, and it'd be nice to be able to compare what the property value was before and after. Picture tells 1,000 words, but numbers never lie.
No, for sure. Yeah, and I think we should be able to get something, from the appraisal district prior to.
Well, I don't know.
Wouldn't it
I
have
mean,
to be appraised though?
sure, if you want to complicate it, but you could always estimate.
Yeah, either way, you could wait for the appraisal,
Yeah.
or you can go by the general, whatever it is,
Well,
$100
I'm sure the
square
appraisal
foot.
district.
Well, the
thinks they're
appraisals, I'm sure
very
every
valuable.
year, I'm sure they're gonna go up. Yeah, so it's
I do have one question for you.
yes, sir.
I noticed that you have now, from pretty much Vermont over to, I think it's Garza, is it? Right there where the thrift store is at? On that little section right
Yes.
there, on 83.
Uh-huh.
There's a few more homes, and I know the last time that you were here, we had asked about the main corridors. I do see that a lot of the properties that have been abandoned on those main corridors are now coming up. Do you have any more along that way? Because I know that there's a few abandoned homes. I think there's one right next to the daycare. Maybe 2 more houses that have not did not come out in this listing. Are you
Right.
still working on that?
So
area?
we have a list. Right now, we just wanna, because in order for, it takes a lot of investigation on our part, checking title searches and owners and stuff. So we're gonna go, and a lot of those, some of those properties that we have on the list, of course, they come in and try to comply or either, so like, for instance, this four here, I know that I have two people already, like they said, I'm looking for somebody to demolish it and stuff. So we're working on it, but on your question, I mean, I'm trying to target, because I know you brought up a good point last time. So let's target, the main arteries of
Well,
the city and.
I think it's definitely worth
Mhm.
visiting because we want to get rid of the eyesores and we want to replace it with
Yes.
something, right?
Yes.
So I mean, it's definitely worth going into and looking into.
Correct.
that. And I'm gonna ask you. I have to ask you again. Where are we with the furniture store?
The furniture store?
Yeah, right here. Right here on Texas, and I think it's third.
Texas and Third.
Well, the furniture store, but that one, I wouldn't consider that dilapidated. So that one is very, I guess, hard to
Oh, it's
go,
pretty-
because it's just,
It's falling apart from the inside. So
Okay.
at this point, I know there's some sort of deal. I talked to Purdue about this.
okay.
I know there's something going on, but at this point, they're trying to rent the building. The building is not inhabitable at all.
Okay.
So
okay.
at this point, it's
Well, we can
it's,
go
you
after
know,
that one for sure. I mean, we can try to get a warrant from the judge, go in and see assess it from the inside,
I would
rather
because
than from the
time-
outside.
And the last time I passed by, I saw that the parts of the roof were already fallen, all sorts of stuff. So I don't know if they do that with the intention to maybe show like they're gonna do something. But it's been sitting there for a long time.
Okay.
And I just feel like at some point we need to tell the owner either he's gonna, do something with it or
Yeah,
just
well,
go,
well, I'll look into it. I'll try to get some facts and start some investigation, and then we legal and see what route we want to take.
Never hurts to rattle the cage.
Huh?
Yeah.
Never hurts to rattle the cage a little bit.
That's right.
You're doing a great job, and I've got a couple more for you. I'll pass those along later.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner.
Just one more outcome, if you don't mind. Mayor, Honorable Commission, just real quick. I will first of all commend you on your tremendous job. Two things that I've kind of noticed. So one, obviously, you're planning and zoning. And so you're able to see these properties as well and where they're located, the location. And I guess the other question goes with the city manager as well, is that I've noticed that some of these properties are in areas where we're having drainage issues. And I've always thought, and some of the properties are either abandoned or maybe potentially somehow we can buy these properties and turn these, because some of the layouts, if you look at the land there, it would be very difficult to build something big, or it's just, the lots were very small, especially back in the day. So we're limited, and someone that would buy it would be limited. But the location of some of these properties, maybe we could strategize on, maybe if it's in a good location where we can try to improve drainage. In other words, make a outfall or something,
Retention pond.
retention pond or something. Just something just to think about, locate and strategize, or you know what, maybe this would be good here. Just something to think about, and maybe something just to kind of, keep some eyes on.
Yep, good idea.
For sure.
Anybody else?
Alvaro, just
Alvaro,
want to say
go ahead.
thank you to you and your department for taking the initiative and taking care of this. We've seen a big progress, even as you drive around town, we're starting to see a little bit more pride within our community. Also, thank you to the Building and Standards Committee, for their help and due diligence with this. So thank you.
Thank you.
So Alvaro,
Yes, sir.
sorry, man.
Mhm.
Real quick. Commissioner kind of stole part of what I was going to say. So I think one, we need to thank you for your hard work. We appreciate the building standards, like everybody has said. Obviously, there's some synergy there, and it's working in our behalf. But I also want to take the time to, I'm pretty sure you're doing this, but I want to thank those citizens that are stepping up to do what they're doing, because honestly, I'm sure it was a financial burden on them, but what that tells me on the emotional side is that they still have ties to Mercedes, willing enough to beautify it.
it could be just as easy as abandoning it, because all that's costing them money.
Yes.
And whether they sell it or not for the price they made or whatever, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So you said something that really touched me when you said some of these people don't have much money and you're working with them. And that's what makes us different than other places, is that, and it's showing. So your nature to want to work with people instead of go at them with a bat is why you're being successful like you are. Okay. You add to that everybody does their job, including the board, right? The buildings board, and that the people know that, okay, we got a guy willing to work with us. We got a board that's ready to hammer us. You know, they've got the support of the commission, on and on and on. So I think that I'm real impressed, one, by whatever you're doing, like Dr. Stanya said, that nobody's complaining about. But number two, it just tells me a lot about the citizens of Mercedes. To have 18 people come forward and volunteer without a forcible order and say, I'm gonna fix it, means a lot to us. It means a lot to the city. So thank you for that. And if you ever get a chance, I'd like to know some of these people. I'd like to thank them. Okay, thank you, Alvaro.
And Mayor, Commissioner, I'd like to add, I mean, he's at 31 homes.
Yep.
These are homes that they could easily default to, well, go ahead and do what you need to do, and it would have cost the city to demolish them and pay for removal of debris and so on and so forth,
Never mind the time.
Yep.
resources.
Yep.
So I just wanted to highlight that he's already at 31 plus and still going, and this has not set us back in any form or fashion.
Thank you, Alvaro.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alvaro.
So moving on to item E, update on bank depository services.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. I just wanted to give you a brief update. The bank is up for renewal this year, so we posted on 9/11 on our website that we're out for bids. It was posted on the Monitor this past weekend on Saturday. It's going on the Enterprise tomorrow, and on the 25th is the last day that we're pretty much waiting on everybody to submit the bids. Next meeting on October 3rd, we have to make a decision on, October 1st, we have to make a decision if we get several, which bank we want to keep.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for doing
Thank
that.
you, ma'am.
Moving on to item 7A and approval of minutes for meeting held on September 3rd, 2024 on consent agenda.
Mayor, I make a motion to accept item 7A, and we're at it 7B, and forego the second and final reading of ordinance 2024-11.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez on 7A and B. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item 8, action items. Present, discuss, consider, and possibly take action regarding approval of raising the speed limit at 9,000 block of Mile 2 West.
Hello, Mayor, Commission, City Manager.
Good evening, Chief.
So we've been working at this for a while because I know it's been mentioned before several times, and that's the increasing of the speed limit on Mile 2 West. So we did some speed surveys on the way we were guided to do them as per TxDOT and as per the guidelines in the administrative code. So we presented that, or our recommendation is that we go as high as 40 miles an hour because it would make sense to increase it going northbound, because after you pass the school, you can go as far as 55, but it wouldn't make any sense coming to the southbound side because you're about to approach the school. So what the most reasonable speed based on the reports that we made, I don't know, do I have a slide in there? I don't have a slide. I don't know if y'all remember.
Chief, and just so this is only from the stretch of where South Texas ISD is at to where, to
Yes.
Mile 1?
So I thought,
8.
well, I had some
8.
pictures. I could have sworn I thought they submitted a PowerPoint here. Oh, you want the thing? Okay. So I think if you go to the, let me see, the first page, we're planning on putting a speed limit zone right there where it says 30 miles an hour, putting it right at the beginning of Frontage Road and Mile 2 West. And that's going to go for maybe a little bit more than quarter of a mile, half a mile almost, just past Med High, Science Academy, I'm sorry. Just past Science Academy, behind it, there's a little canal. And we're asking that for that to be up to 30 miles an hour. That was the reference point that I also got with TxDOT, and that's what they recommended as far as to make it 30, just to still be considered safe zone of a school in a sense. Anything after that, of course, that's where we want to put that 40-mile-per-hour zone, is starting after the canal, passing Science Academy. And really the reason is because throughout the years we've had people, really go as high as the speeds. So I know I tasked Lieutenant Macias to do some speed surveys in different times. So somewhere in the morning, somewhere in midday, somewhere in the afternoon. But basically, for the most part, everything was averaged out to be leaning to 40 miles an hour.
Like 35 to 40.
That's how
Yeah,
much people are driving anyway.
Yeah. So we did this with marked police units, and we did this with unmarked and well hidden in different areas because we want to be able to justify
What's
that.
impressive about this study is that DPS is all up on that road and they're still speeding beyond 30.
Yeah. So questions that arise with this were I did meet with Science Academy and South Texas ISD because they're in question of a school zone, right? The thing is that you cannot make it a school zone because the road needs to have a crosswalk. It needs to have a crosswalk that moves pedestrian students to go to their houses. And if you don't have a crosswalk, it's not considered a school zone. So you just have to make it into a caution area, caution signs. That's why the one on north on FM 491 has caution signs and not school zones because there is no, and they did do studies there, but they didn't have any students walking to their homes. No crosswalks, and there's no sidewalks.
So
It's
there
just
was
the
a
roadway.
neighborhood across the street, for
Yeah.
example, there's a crosswalk.
Exactly.
School zone.
Yeah. If there's crosswalks or they see kids walking
Like
to
in
and from
Ojosa.
school,
Yeah.
then you can make it a crosswalk first, report the crosswalk, and then apply for the safe zone, school zone. So in this case, it doesn't merit. So we felt that leaving it at 30 miles an hour, it still can be considered, safe and well monitored, and then increase it with 40 miles an hour. So that's the only reason why we wanted to make it a little bit more lengthy, because I understand that, there's not a lot of development on Mile 2 West. There's not a lot of it. So I know that the more development is further to the county side, but in order for people to travel on a daily basis on the mornings from the county all the way south, it takes them a long time.
Well, you got to
So-
think right now with international being worked on. I know a lot of people use that that one road to get to and from that back area right now. So
Yeah.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve.
So I think he's gonna have to make, so your
sorry.
recommendation is 40 miles an hour?
40 miles an hour.
So that's what it'll have to say.
I make a motion to approve the increase to 40 miles an hour.
I'll
I have a
second.
motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Saldana. Any discussion?
Yeah, just real quick, Chief, since you're on this topic of I guess this type of subject, and I've mentioned it before, where high school's at. And I've been in a little car accident there. I've overseen car accidents. I'm sure you guys have been reported to right in the corner of where the stadium's at.
Tiger Lane.
Tiger Lane.
Uh-huh.
Now there's that new subdivision that's come, that Olivia, that's being developed. I live in that other subdivision next to it near the Klausners, the Royal Circle. So there's kids that are starting to walk, but always in the morning and afternoon. I mean, these big 16-wheelers are just hauling, and cars just, I feel like they're speeding, and more kids are starting to, because it's developing, that area is growing. There's kids walking across and things, and so there's something maybe you can just look at.
Doc, if I can, sorry, I want to make sure you get your message out, but let's put this on so that he can properly discuss it, because this
Yeah,
one
for
is
sure.
very specific to Mile 2.
Exactly.
So we'll request to
it.
put it on the agenda. I'll go ahead and
Okay.
request it on behalf of Mr. Howell, and let's put it on the next one to discuss some of those more dangerous areas.
Okay. Yes.
And maybe you can even tell us some of the hot zones
yeah, we will.
that you guys may have.
We'll take it.
All right.
All right, moving on to,
Mayor, we didn't take a vote.
oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to 8B.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Well,
have
he's
the
still
next
got
one,
one
so-
more. Approval of adopting the new Mercedes Police Department model policy, medical and psychological examinations of licensees, and adding it to the table of contents for existing policies.
It's a new requirement.
Okay.
were you able to, you have any questions?
I make a
regarding
motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Howell. Do I have a second?
Doctor had a discussion, or you had a question for me?
No, go ahead. You got a second?
Oh, okay.
We can wait till it gets to discussion.
You got a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Discussion, go ahead.
I think I got my answer over here to the right, but I was asking what the motivation was. In other words, why a new law, a new requirement?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's always been a requirement for a long time, but I think you just probably never updated the policy.
So TICO, so the study behind it was TICO based.
Yep.
TICO noticed that a lot of agencies didn't have an updated policy regarding this. Most of your civil service departments will have this in place, and we have one, but we have one for the hiring process. So we examine our officers both medically and psychologically throughout the beginning phase of entering, and this is just enhancing its process of saying if I feel that officer needs psychiatric help or any kind of, if they're not fit for duty, this is kind of the policy that protects you as to why I'm going to refer him to an examiner and come back with a report if or if not he's fit for duty.
How often are you going to do this examination?
This examination is only in the occasion that I feel that an officer
Subjective.
If I can, Chief, let me correct that real quick. It's not if you feel, if he has to, yeah, it has to merit it. So,
Okay.
like sometimes you have an officer that came off of a shooting or a bad injury and they're struggling. It's not to chastise them. It's to make sure they're getting the help that they need. So.
I know that because it does it's specific as to the units that you're assigned to. So I'm not expecting, like a 35-year lieutenant to be doing jumping gates and stuff, because that's not what it's assigned to. It's pertaining to what you're assigned to.
So no, the lieutenant. So Lieutenant Diaz
He
won't be
can.
jumping gates. Is
Well,
that?
Well,
we
maybe.
barely can a little bit.
but it's more. No. But I appreciate and applaud the psychological part of it because I
Yeah.
think that's something that kind of gets overlooked from time to time.
No, for sure.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to approval of variances for Mirasol subdivision.
They were here last time, right?
Welcome, gentlemen.
How you going, boys?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Alfonso Quintanilla. I'm an engineer from Edinburgh, Quintanilla Health and Associates. And I thank you for your time this evening for this item. I have with me Mr. Kevin Campbell. He's the property owner and developer for this proposed subdivision. I'm going to go to the specific item here as we requested it several weeks ago, and we presented these variances to your Planning and Zoning Commission. They heard our case and they favorably voted for this request. I know Mr. Campbell, I don't know if he wants to elaborate on the fact that, he's been waiting for a long time to get here, but we appreciate your time and your consideration. But the variances, in essence, was like, as you can see on the layout, and because of the configuration of the property, we have proposed several cul-de-sacs. So the front dimension of the lot, because of the cul-de-sac, does not meet the requirement of a regular lot. Regular lot, as you can see, there are 60 by 120, 60 by 135. But if you look at the areas of these lots, they're all, pretty much in excess of 8,000 square feet, which is a lot more than the minimum square footage. It's just because of the configuration. And as the Planning and Zoning Commission heard, I mean, these cul-de-sac lots, they're very ample in the back for a very good size home. And the other thing is the side setbacks. I believe that your ordinance says 7 feet on one side and 3 feet on the other. Instead of staggering like that, we requested just to have an even 5 on each side. And I believe Mr. Alvaro, your public building official, was here and he attested that. So 10 feet between structures is a safe distance. So in regards to the annexation, Mr. Campbell will explain that one. And then on the cul-de-sacs, just because the way we laid out the subdivision, and again, because there's an outage home in the front that is not owned by Mr. Campbell, we have a ditch on the side, a ditch on the east, so things just worked out like this. But I mean, on each cul-de-sac, there's about 11 lots. I think one of the questions was, okay, the cul-de-sacs are proposed to be 100-foot diameter and about 92 feet of paving area. So it's more than enough for your fire trucks to come around and stuff like that.
Would they be at least two entrances, or an exit and exit?
Just one.
on
No,
this?
just one. Because there's another house there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyhow, and
So there's no way to have, I mean, normally that's one of the, I mean, I'm big on that. I know some of the older subdivisions, they used to do it that way, but I live in one where it was not created that way.
Right.
And there's always issues, sometimes,
yes.
and I feel like that's always a safety net to have either double entrance or it also serve as an exit and an exit.
Right.
There's been
two or
both
three-
laws and require that.
Right. There's 2 or 3 things we can consider tonight, and let Mr. Campbell is here. Can I approach the screen over
Sure,
there?
sure.
Thank you.
I'm just saying for the
Have
safety
the
of our
mic?
citizens, please.
Can you give him the mic, or can take that one, Alfonso?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, por favor.
And I appreciate your comment and concern. So one thing we could do, the property to the north is undeveloped. One thing we could do is on the street here is open the street for a future connection, so that way, eventually this property will develop and then there will be more outlets to Mount 2.5 East. Another one here, we could, on this street here, Sunflower, we could potentially do another, entrance like you're stating. Another possibility is make the entrance wider than the normal. The normal street is 50 feet right away, 32 feet paving. We could perhaps do, 60-foot right away for a section of the street, and then make the paving 40 feet wide or something that it can give, more access.
I think, in my opinion, I mean, I wouldn't want to change your layout, and obviously that's more time and money. But I think I do like one of your 2 ideas of either just opening up a potential for
Yes.
future, or towards the end, I guess your left-hand corner somewhere there.
We don't have a problem doing that, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think,
the last-
Doesn't that take away from the house though, on the left-hand corner?
Well, you lose some lots for sure.
yeah, he would lose.
I think that the one on the northeast to go for the future is better. Eventually, that property is gonna be developed. There will be more streets, coming out and all of that.
Ironically, and I had a meeting with him and we discussed that as well. I had the same concern.
When I know the motion here, what we're looking for is for approval to accept the annexation, correct? For
Mr.
the-
Campbell?
No,
No, it's the variances.
the variances they're requesting, but I think you have some as well, some variances as well, Mr. Campbell?
I wasn't submitting an application for annexation.
Okay, all right. So go ahead, Commissioner. Doc, were
Oh,
you gonna
that
make a
was
motion?
pretty much just my
No,
concern.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But like I said, more development, more rooftops, obviously those monies come back to the city, and those funds are for city needs and community needs, which are much needed. So I make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
second,
but
but-
hang on.
Got the engineer.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah,
Engineer, go
'cause I
ahead.
know you had a list too.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Again, Mayor, Commissioners, I just wanted to go ahead and explain some of the variances. There are 5 variances to the comments that we prepared. So just to kind of give you an idea how we do these, when they submit them, they turn them over for us to review. We provide a list of, let me see,
Well, planning is only took a look at them, correct? Already?
excuse me?
Yes.
Planning, okay.
Yes. So we come up with a list of all the items that we find are an issue or recommendations based on your ordinances. So it's not just us wanting, hey, this is the way we like it. This is actually,
Right.
our comments are just specifically for, based on your ordinances
Policy.
and your policies that you have. So we go through the subdivision plat, we go through the water distribution, the sewer, and the paving and drainage. And all those items. So out of this entire list, they prepared a five variances to the ordinances, and they went before P and Z. We weren't able to attend that one, but I understand that it was voted in favor. So with regard to the minimum frontage, just going back to the, we did just have some issues with your minimum frontage is 50 foot on every lot. You need to have, that's the minimum lot size. The problem we had were around the cul-de-sacs where it gets down to 37, 36 feet. That's cutting it. That's cutting it real close on entrances to the homes. Even though the lots, like I said, like he mentioned, are larger in size, they just do not comply with the ordinance. There's a reason you have the minimum frontage on it. That's the reason for the minimum frontage requirement. The setbacks, I do understand the 7 and 5. That's usually a fire marshal issue because, you know, proximity to the adjacent homes. That's not really unless the fire marshal had an issue. You know, cities do often approve those. I'm going to skip to the cul-de-sac because I want to talk about voluntary annexation. But if I can skip to number 4, which is the cul-de-sac, that was just based on an ordinance the city had previously had adopted, I should say. And actually, that cul-de-sac ordinance is so restrictive, you generally just almost impossible to have any cul-de-sacs. You don't want dead ends, is what I understood from your city. That they've got 3 of them. This particular layout, as the engineer mentioned, is a little more difficult with the fact that there's a home in the front, so access becomes an issue. But like I said, that ordinance is a very restrictive ordinance. You essentially are eliminating them with that ordinance. That's the reason, you know, we called it out. And then number 5 was the escrow widening of mile 2.5 east. That is, every developer that comes in, when they build a subdivision, well, they have to widen the road or provide an escrow for the widening. They're requesting a variance for that. But just keep in mind, if they don't provide the escrow in the future, it's going to be the city's responsibility to provide for all the funding. Actually, all your tax base is going to have to pay for that. And we're not asking them to provide 100%, but we're asking them to provide their pro rata share of frontage on their side of the road. So that's a reason for.
Are all these, I mean, have you already submitted this to them and had these discussions already?
Yes, sir.
And are they willing to work with you?
Well, that's the reason for the variance. It got approved at P&Z, giving them all the
You said
variances.
There's 5 different variants.
There's 5 different variances
And they all
before
got
you.
approved by P&Z?
The P&Z approved all of them. And then the final one, I'll go back to, if I could, on the voluntary annexation. That to me is a kind of a bigger issue. This particular property is adjacent to your city limits. So perfect opportunity for you to expand your city limits. You are already providing sanitary sewer as part of the development, so you're providing city services. It's within the ETJ, so it is within your authority to, you know, review, approve. The problem is if you don't annex the property or they don't voluntarily annex, the county doesn't have any zoning. So they don't have any zoning enforcement, so they could build mixed housing. It could say single family residential on there, but they consider mobile homes single family residential. So the county doesn't have building codes either. We also confirm, you know, I do several subdivisions. I don't do as many as Mr. Quintanilla. But so we did get updated by the county today. Hey, what is the difference these days? Same thing, Mr. Tovar, with the county advised us. We haven't adopted any building codes. So when they apply for a permit, they only look at 2 things, the setbacks and the finished floor elevation. Other than that, they don't provide any inspections on the property.
For annexation?
Correct. That's
Oh,
the
they're
variant.
not?
That's the variance number 3. That's a variance number 3, and that would be the one that would be of concern in our opinion. One of the greater concerns.
And there's 190,
Excuse
or
me.
is that a different one? How many lots in this?
There's about
development?
approximately 60 lots.
Oh, 60,
59 or
okay, I'm thinking of another
58,
development, okay.
58 lots.
So they don't want to get annexed, basically, right?
That's correct. That's the variance. That's one of your variances here that was approved by P&Z, but it's up to the commission whether to uphold that. And just wanted to make you aware, that's why we're here to explain some of those
Let me ask
details.
city manager, what happens if we don't approve the variance?
They would have to adjust to meet the requirements based on building instead.
Well, no, that's some of the
Problem is that
restrictions too.
We're
They're able to-
restricted also because they're outside,
Right.
Yeah.
so we have limitations.
If we've been through this on other projects,
I
right?
agree,
It's
but
catch 22.
Just, not really keen if we're gonna eventually grow out that way and and allowing somebody to come and just build a colonia where we could possibly build something better.
So,
I mean, that's just, you know,
Pay me now or pay me later.
yeah, so I was gonna ask some questions of, so of all of these things, it sounds like you're saying some of them are just you identifying rules that we have, not necessarily dangerous or that kind of stuff. It's just rules that we have. The two main things is the variance to being annexed, because then we can enforce rules,
Correct.
which is normal all over the county, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So I want to make sure we're real cognizant of that. This goes on all over the county. So what, and it's, my concern is more of what y'all's project idea is for this, and if there's any teeth to it, if you all do that kind of a project there. I'm with the commission, with the two commissioners saying about concerns about a colonia. What assurances would there be that it wouldn't be a colonia type of project?
Very good points, Mayor, Commissioners. First of all, I would like to, for the record, to say this is not a proposed colonia, okay? This is a proposed subdivision. Water from North Alamo, sanitary sewer service from the city, curb and gutter streets, drainage. We have 3 individual 24-inch drainage outlets, okay? From this subdivision into the drain ditch. We're gonna widen the drain ditch, all of those requirements. So it's not a colonia in the sense that we know the colonias. It's gonna have all the services. Mr. Campbell here can elaborate more as far as where you were leading to, Mr. Mayor, on the restrictions.
Hello, my name's Kevin Campbell. I'm with SR Campbell Properties. We were opened in 1978. We've been developing in the Rio Grande Valley for many years. We purchased this property in 3 years ago, submitted our first application in 2022. There was no sewer in the area, so our initial development plan was to do it on half-acre lots with septic system. When we submitted that to the city, planning department, they said they would prefer if we hold off because they were going to be improving on the road, and they're also going to be putting sanitary sewer into the development that's across the street. The development across the street has been there for many, many years. It has quite a few old mobile homes. Anytime we go into an area, we look at the condition of the area, the demographics of the people that we're trying to serve. Our effort is affordable housing. But regardless of that, what we decided to do was we withdrew our development plan, and we waited. And so now we're over 2 years after our initial application, and we're finally to the point where we can come back in. We've had the subdivision redesigned. Due to the limitations of the shape of the property and the fact that there's a home right in the front, it kind of limits how we can design this property. And the most efficient use is what we came up with is the design that Mr. Quintanilla came up with. Now, as far as what our plan there is, our plan is to make the housing as affordable as we can, and that's manufactured housing. Now, we're going to require new manufactured housing there. This is not going to be where there's old frame homes brought in. It will be restricted to new manufactured housing. And so that was the reason for me not requesting annexation into the city. Our effort is affordability. There's a lot of subdivisions that have come in that are servicing a different demographic. And frankly, some of them are not selling real well, and they're in that same vicinity. So our effort is to go and provide affordable housing, and this is the best way that we see that we can do that for the area.
Mr. Campbell, I got a
of a home sample.
Hang on, Doc.
No. Doc, go ahead.
I was just asking if you had a photo of a sample.
Oh,
home.
no, I didn't
Okay.
come with a photo. But
I guess I was trying to make the discussion, but I want to reverse my motion. I would like to make a motion to postpone. The
I got a
approval.
question, Mr. Campbell, if I may.
Yeah,
I think it's very commendable that you're trying to build the affordable housing. And I hope you understand that it's nothing of any kind of insult to you or anything. It's just we want to make sure that what we bring to that area is something that is going to be sellable in the future, right? my question to you is, would you ever consider annexing? Because eventually what will end up happening down the line is we're gonna come knocking on your door because this city limit is gonna extend. I can foresee it. So if you're gonna seek our services as far as the sewer and all that, wouldn't it just be beneficial to be part of the city and annex that portion?
If
of
you
land?
allowed manufactured housing, yes.
The problem is we don't allow manufactured housing. And at the end of the day, it has to be profitable to whoever's gonna build, whether it's him or somebody else.
Yeah,
the
that
issue.
was the effort. I mean, so, and the limitation as well.
So I made a motion to postpone it for further discussions.
So,
I think we just act one way or the other.
so,
I know
okay, well, I have to either let this move or die, so I have a motion to, what was your motion?
To postpone the vote.
To
for
postpone?
Further discussions
Do I have a second?
and information.
Do I have a second?
I'll second, and just so we can get a little bit more clarification before we take this vote on, maybe by the next meeting, if that's okay with you, gentlemen, maybe have a little bit more insight on it.
Well, if you could explain what clarification do you need?
Well, I think we'd like to, I agree with Commissioner Howe that I'd like to see what the manufactured home looks like. I don't know if he has anything else to add to it, but I know he mentioned about the other entrance that can be done at a later time, but I just want to know or see what you're bringing to that area. Just for the peace of mind, if you understand, Mr. Campbell.
And I would add to that, Commissioner Martinez, it would be, like I said, I just want to make sure that the discussions are being made as far as making sure that these people that come into these affordable homes, which is great, which we want, would be good for those citizens, have the proper water and sewer lines, and the area is not in a drainage or a flood area and things like that. So I think this is part of why I want to have these further discussions and further detail.
So and correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but so the stuff about so the thing about the engineering part that you're talking about, Doc, that's something that's already being done, answered, looked at. That's not an issue. The drainage is not an issue. Yeah.
That's all resolved.
That's all been resolved. The issue here, I'm gonna cut to the chase here.
Yep.
At the end of the day, either we're gonna
Either
allow
approve it or we
mobile
don't.
homes, new mobile homes, we all know what they look like, out in the country, that's the issue here. And my conundrum, and I think I spoke it out loud with you guys, is I don't really care for that inside the city limits. But at the end of the day, we can't force anybody to annex. So we either gonna have an empty place there,
Right.
or we're gonna have a place with homes that we can count as rooftops. The bigger problem is if it's later on when somebody comes in and now we need those rooftops and they're not willing to bring in new homes and they start bringing in 10-year, 15-year-old homes. I need to caution us about telling people what to do out in the county. I tell you that because I work out in the county. And once you start going down that road, it becomes a war because they can come back at us as well and say, hey, well, what's your reasoning behind this? I have money invested in this property and stuff. So I just,
They're
from a
mobile
safety,
homes? Is that what type of?
a manufactured home is a,
Whatever it
Mr.
might
Campbell
be.
stated.
yes, but they're brand new.
It's a home that's brought in.
And so what you have next to it, which you also have to think about, and again, I had all these questions, FYI. They could tell you I was I argued this point quite a bit. But when you take a snapshot of that area, you have to be able to sell in that area. So again, I would imagine that they're on one side, you're on our side or whatever, right?
No.
So at the end of the day, if you have old houses with old mobile homes all over the place, the chances of you selling a $400,000 home are pretty rough. True, sir? Not true.
Yeah, the value
That's
goes down.
absolutely true. And I can even take a step back. Even the subdivision down the road in front of, next to the sewer plant, just on the next corner, that is full of homes. I know the developer there. They haven't sold them, and those are priced at 200,000. And so we're trying to hit a demographic here. I mean, Mercedes is in need of affordable housing. And so that's what we're trying to supply. And I will give you a commitment that it will be brand new manufactured housing.
The other thing I'd like, can you go over the expansion of 2.5 and what
Let
we're,
me, let me get with you, Mr. Perez. I don't believe we necessarily have an issue with it, but when Mr. Posadas made in the letter, he did not put dollar amounts and specifically. So Mr. Campbell was hoping that we will hear, okay, the city is requesting so much. And so since the comment is just a general comment, we struggle to make a decision not knowing what the number is. But I believe if the number that is provided by Mr. Posadas as your consultant engineer is something reasonable, I know I will go for it and Mr. Campbell will approve it. We would just like to see a number, not just an open statement, like not knowing what that is. But
So I have a motion and a second on the floor.
What was the motion, Mr. Mayor?
Postpone the,
Details.
well, we need to vote on it, and then if you want to make a motion afterwards, if it dies, if it doesn't die, we move forward, if it does, we vote again. So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye. Okay, so the motion dies for the lack of a third vote. So again, I'll bring it up again. I have, what item is it?
see.
Item
C.
approval of variances for Marisol subdivision.
I've got well, go ahead, Mr. Posadas.
The only thing I can tell you I can add is, I know these can be taken and you can say we approve only variances 1, 2, or 3, and not 4 and 5,
Which number is the
Four.
2.5?
The
Oh,
ones
five.
that the ones that we would recommend if we had to, aside from the ordinance, I know, like I mentioned, the cul-de-sacs are very restrictive in our opinion,
Yeah.
having worked
Our
in different
rules.
cities.
Our rules?
Yes,
You're
your
talking about
current
rules.
rules, yes. But the escrow would be one, which I think they alluded that, as long as it's a reasonable number, so denying the variance number 5 seems to be. Yes, they could withdraw that. The only other one, in our opinion, would be just the annexation. It is still, in my opinion, as your consultant and someone that's going to recommend to you, if it would be far better for the city to get the annexation, even if you provide a variance to your mobile home rules, because the county's not going to enforce any restrictions. The county just does not. They could put restrictions.
So hang on to that point.
Deed
So,
restrictions.
so you said that if we gave you a variance on the brand new mobile homes, that you would think, entertain annexation earlier?
Yeah, if that was a solution.
That may be a better variance then.
So is that something we can do?
Can't we
here?
amend our ordinance to include and then require annexation?
You mean right now on the vote? That's the question.
Not on the vote today, but
And that was gonna be my question, but I was kind of waiting, because I don't think right now,
It's what's on the system.
Right.
On the thing.
right.
And if you do that, at the very least, if they bring in mobile homes, you're able to send your code enforcement, you're able, in the future, not just now. but in
I don't
the future.
disagree with that.
I would be much more comfortable with that.
Okay, look. I don't know how we do this, but I've never been more split, man, here, but I'm all for the project as far as I'm concerned. I'm not trying to do that as
what we're
anything
trying
having
to
to do
do
with the
with this.
commission.
Well, but
I just know that we need the rooftops. I would rather have some control over the rooftops that come in here, especially since we're all in agreement on what it is. What would be the setback to you all for 2 weeks, if you gave us 2 weeks to do this, what we're trying to do, and bring back the amendment to the ordinance?
The setback as far as.
Are we able to, would you all be okay with giving us till the next meeting?
you
if we
waited
bring
2
the
years, will you
variance?
wait 2 weeks?
I was gonna say, I was gonna say that exact thing.
That's not what you told me when you met with me, though.
I mean, that's the basic question.
So,
Yeah.
we're
It's not
coming
like we don't have you over a barrel
up on
already.
3 years, so.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
okay, so,
Mayor, I'll make the motion, I guess to postpone the item until we can come
yeah,
back.
2 weeks
In
with,
2 weeks.
Yeah, and do we need any action on the variance, or does that, we just put it on the meeting?
We can put it on the next
On the
meeting.
next meeting.
All right.
Hold on, Mayor, wasn't that the same thing I did when we shut it down
What's that?
on the to postpone it?
Yeah, but you were just
information?
postponing it. We're
No,
postponing
no,
it.
but
Oh,
more
I guess
information
my,
and details.
my issue is I don't have a problem postponing it, but I want it to, if we're gonna postpone it, I want it to be for a specific reason that is fair to you guys, because I got heartburn over this thing and I don't mind saying it. But at the same time, I'm also, I mean, if you're, you have certain rights as a property owner, and you've worked in good faith with us to try to sweeten this thing up as much as we can, and all of the basic sort of infrastructural services, so that we don't end up spending $5-6 million in 20 or 30 years like we did across the street, because we had someone that did absolutely nothing but plat it all out, sell everything, and then point them all to City Hall when they were flooded and didn't have any kind of basic services.
And that is not gonna happen, Commissioner.
And I want to, so,
I can
Go ahead.
tell you, we've been in this
by the
business
travel center.
for almost 50 years, and we plan on being in it for a lot
Yeah,
longer.
right.
And we don't do that by doing shoddy developments.
Right, yes.
I appreciate that, Mr. Campbell.
and I just in closing, the issue here that I was having, that I think this is gonna take care of is, and as you all know, I have a real problem with mobile homes, because I've seen what has gone on with some of the older ones that people take advantage of people with. I think this is a great way for us to move forward with some of these projects that will help us, one, have those rooftops that we need. And because, somebody, at the end of the day, if they can afford a lot and they can afford a nice mobile home, they're going to be able to put money back into our system here in Mercedes. And if that's what's out there right now, if that's a demographic that needs to start, everybody needs to start at home. We all started with one, and I think that does that as well. So, but anyway, I appreciate you guys, and sorry to make y'all wait, but 2 more weeks. Go ahead.
Thank you for the consideration, and we'll do our best to make the city proud of what goes in there.
All right, we appreciate you guys.
I have one more question,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor, on those lots. If I get myself a nice little fat cul-de-sac lot, there's nothing prohibiting me as a purchaser of that lot from developing that lot with a builder and building myself a Taj Mahal with a golden dome either, right? I mean, though, you could have traditional construction there as well.
Yes, what I'm going to
Now we're
do
talking.
before your meeting in 2 weeks, ahead of time, I'll submit to your planning department some exhibits.
Okay.
Showing you how
Right.
the home, the driveway, all of those items.
I mean, we could end up with traditional homes. We just have the flexibility of other options.
Right.
That's usually the process. It usually happens
Okay.
is you'll get a mixture of both of those.
And manufactured homes, just for purposes of definition, also includes the new tiny homes.
No, we'll have no, because there's a limitation on square feet.
Okay.
So if
What
it's-
is that limitation?
If it's below 400 square feet, it's not considered it's a recreational vehicle. I mean, like a park model. But it's not considered the same type of housing, like an RV or something like that. So
okay, cool.
400 square feet is that cutoff. Now, most homes now are between most manufactured housing is between 1,200 and 1,800 square feet. So, and Palm Harbor, Clayton, A1, those are all companies that sell here just down the road. They have a big variation of different models. And the other thing that you're accessing there is they offer really good financing plans. So, and that's where people are getting the opportunities is in their financing plans.
Potentially turn into maybe a retirement village or something maybe?
I don't know about that.
You got a golf course out there?
No, they don't need one. They need a waffle ball.
One of those, yeah,
You ain't got no
pickleball,
golf
man. You
course,
get
that ain't no
pickleball be
retirement,
full of.
Parting comment is,
Certainly not the same.
the parting comment is, I want to end on something good because my wife always tells me I need to do that. And so I really do appreciate y'all working with us. And I thank you for working with us just a little bit more. I think we can get something done here, and I just appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thank you,
We'll-
guys. Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Moving on to item.
Wait, Mayor, did we take the vote?
Postpone.
We just
Okay.
postponed.
No,
By
did we?
default, no action taken.
There was no action on y'all's, but we didn't make a motion.
No, but I'm saying we didn't vote, did we?
We're gonna
It
put it on
died.
the agenda.
Oh, it died, so then,
The
so then what happens? Yeah, that's what it said. Hello? Hey.
oh,
Hey,
okay, I'm
hey,
sorry.
hello?
Motion with no second.
I mean, cause we gotta do something or else
Second
that,
and hell.
Yeah, so I think, so if I can, let me try and get this out so I don't sound
I'll
too.
second it. That's all right.
So, no.
I
So,
understand we're
so-
discriminating a little
no,
bit. But
so I don't think the motion is necessary. What's necessary is we're gonna put it on the next agenda.
Put it back on the agenda.
The motion to postpone died.
We will
So
take
we
care
need to put it on the next agenda.
they did it
for-
to me too, bro. You see?
The young guns, man. All right, moving on to item D, 8D, approval of updated bylaws for Keep Mercedes Beautiful. Sorry, ladies, but all this was important, so come on up.
Okay, I have a question. Yeah, yes, ma'am. I'm curious because is this what we got in our packet? Is this the final, or do you guys have the final?
So we ended
have
up with something with
something that's
scribbling
really
on it.
weird.
and-
And I was just kind of curious because they submitted one that was just scratched out written, and I'm like, I don't think this is the final
So
product. So.
there should be there's a final, but then there's one of the revisions.
Right, so that we can tell what you changed.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No, because
No?
it's not the original bylaws.
okay.
It was already revised multiple times before that.
Okay, and the reason is because like the one that we got, it has like things crossed out, things written on, and so I'm like, okay, but this is not the final though, right? I'm just curious.
There's two on there, so.
There's two.
Okay.
Right,
But
there's
the
a
one
March
with
18th,
markings-
and then there's another
Yeah.
one.
So you
that's
brought
old.
the old one and the new one.
But it's one of them that has had multiple revisions.
Right, right,
It's
well-
not the original.
No, but well, when we say
I
original,
got.
whatever changes were done to it, those changes were done onto the original bylaws, changing them as you go. And what y'all are trying to do is the second ones are the new bylaws that are gonna be taking over the other ones. Right. A copy of the old one.
But
The
it's
one y'all were
still,
following.
it's still a revised copy though.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the original.
The
Yeah.
reason it's confusing, it's got March 18, 2024.
Right, right. I'm not sure why
That
it
makes
has,
total sense.
That's why there's.
I'm not sure why it has
So,
those
so anyway, the clean one is the one y'all are proposing here tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept, Mayor. Now it makes all sense. It's just they threw in that second one. I was like, what the hell is this? So
I'll
just
second
wanted to
it.
make
I have
sure.
a,
So
I
your
have a
ladies-
motion, hang on a second. I have a
Yeah.
motion by
Yeah,
Commissioner
yeah.
Martinez, second by Dr. Howe. Discussion? Yes.
The other Mr. Pettis.
Yeah,
Not related.
there's
Not
gonna be a
related,
change
no
as far
relation.
as Mercedes, Keep Mercedes Beautiful is gonna be no longer under the planning department. It's gonna be, Mr. Armando, I don't know his last name,
Yeah.
the new Parks and
Viela.
Rec.
Viela.
Viela.
Oh, for the Parks and Recs
Yes.
director.
Moved to the-
Yeah.
And
thought it
the
was
name is
Vasquez.
on the name is on the,
Right now they're not, but I guess in the next one, it's gonna be
Armando
updated.
Vasquez,
'cause I know
We
it
can
says
accept it with that
yeah,
change.
they're
We
planning
we can
department.
accept it with that change, and I think that'd be great because you guys are doing already work at the park, so it kind of goes
Yeah,
hand in
and in
hand.
most cities, it normally falls in Parks and Rec.
okay, no
department.
problem.
So
no
it's
problem. So you want to amend your motion to
I'll make
include the name,
I'm in the motion to go ahead and accept the ordinances that you have, the final ones.
but not the name, the position. Parks and Rec
But the
Director.
position will fall under the
under
department
Parks and Rec, yes,
of the
yes, sir.
Parks and Recs director.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do you continue
sorry?
second? Second by Commissioner
I'm sorry, they're
Howell.
bylaws, sorry.
All right.
No, it's
No, to be
Mr.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, Mr.
So
Armando.
my this quick discussion, this very quick actually comment. So you ladies feel comfortable with these new policies and procedures that
They
you
put
want to
'em
move
together.
forward with, correct?
Yes.
Their committee came up with that.
They did them. They did them. They wrote them.
Just
I hope
double
so.
checking.
Well, we added more committees. If you look at page 2, we added more and defined more committees. And the hope is that every member will at least serve on 2 committees. We defined them a little bit more. And mine, I think you added the yellow, encourage. I think the attorney added encourage. So that's kind of what we wanted to do, is define it a little bit more so that the new members that you're going to talk about, that we're hoping to get up to 15, because we need that many to do. If you look at all through I, that's a lot of ground to cover.
And
So
Mrs.
we
Kelton.
need- We need this many.
And this
I'm-
is based on McAllen.
Yeah.
McAllen, keep McAllen beautiful, went
That's
for us
19.
at the state level.
Well, they also got funding like hell, so. I do have one question to ask you guys, though. Is the percentage for the events, that's going from 50 to 80%, right? As far as the participation? I think I had seen a draft for that.
80% is for the
Okay, so
meetings,
it's gonna stay
50% is
80,
for the
50.
Events.
That's on
Okay,
page 30.
okay.
Meetings are now allowed to be electronic, which they weren't before.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
a
yeah.
big change.
Okay.
They won't be able to
Events are-
vote.
Events are
Yeah.
50%.
I did have one little deal that I wanted to ask you guys. I know in the draft there was about taking the chairperson and signing on the meeting minutes. Is that still going to happen, or would you still
Yeah,
have that checks
There
and
were
balances?
some things in the copy that's got markouts and notes.
Yeah.
There were some things marked out that weren't left out of the final.
I just always felt like it's best to have 2 pairs of eyes looking at the minutes to
It's-
ensure that
it's still on
there's
there.
no, if hey, you forgot to put this or something like that. But
Also, prior on page 3, we've never had a treasurer.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we just need someone to be a liaison between finance, and so there's a new office. There was only the chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary. We've added treasurer.
Okay.
Because we need someone to put it in our, to keep track of that. That's their job.
And to inform the other members what they need to do when they want to request.
Well, if I may, Mayor, and I don't mean to jump ahead. So you're moving it now to 15 members, correct?
Yeah.
And,
It'll be a range.
okay, and the members that you guys have proposed have been vetted through the committee? You guys are in agreement with them?
Yes.
Because I saw a lot of great applicants on there, so I just
Oh,
want.
yeah, I tried to put 2 or 3 words
Yes,
of
ma'am.
who they were, at least on the minutes. Mr.
Well, they
Pettis?
have the applications.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Mayor, I think for the sake of this discussion and the fact that you ladies have been here most of the evening, to make things easy, I'm gonna amend my motion, and if I can, I'd like to entertain items 8D and E, because I guess it kind of falls all in one, if
Okay.
we can. And I'd like to make a motion to accept the updated bylaws as well as the applicants that applied for the Keep Mercedes Beautiful Committee Board.
And then, so it's E, C, D, and E, correct? No, I'm sorry, D and E and what?
8D and E.
Okay, so I have a motion.
Hold on, yes, ma'am.
So I'll need to correct the date down here on the footer
Yes, ma'am.
to this date. The footer.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
footer, we'll
Yes.
need to change
Yes.
that date.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I'll need to change, I think we said planning director, I need to put Parks and
Parks and
Wildlife.
Rec, Parks and
Mayor,
Recreation,
so
Parks
let
and
me-
Recreation Director.
So,
Parks and Wildlife, Parks.
all right, so,
Your dream, that was your dream job you were thinking
Got
about.
eight
Mayor, so
members
let me
coming
go
in.
ahead and just,
If
okay,
they
let me
accept.
do this right, then.
I mean,
I'm gonna
they're
go
get
ahead and,
approved by you, but-
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to approve items 8D with the corrections that are coming, of course, as well as items 8E, the approval appointment of Keep Mercedes Beautiful committee members.
Okay, I have a motion of, to approve 8D and E with the changes that the commissioner outlined. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate all your hard work.
Appreciate your patience.
Awesome.
Hard work.
Yes. And by the way, the park is looking really nice over there at the Little League Park. Good job.
And watered.
And we only
And B1.
It's already in the packet.
Yes, ma'am.
The applications, yeah.
It was,
So-
no, that they needed.
I've got some work for y'all at my house. Y'all want to come by?
It's a new park.
It's a new park.
Waiting everyone that was.
Item 8F, approval to accept the voluntary annexation petition filed by North Valley Village. Petition.
Yeah, we
Make a
have
motion
petition.
to accept and approval of the voluntary annexation, sir.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. And then discussion, I believe the CM's gonna clarify some
Just
stuff.
give me a second.
Ya está ready el engineer, buddy. Got it.
8F. Iba what you wait. I was already in the next time. I don't have 8F. It is. North Valley Village is planning here? No, they're not here. I don't have the actual number of lots that are coming in. But every opportunity that we've been working on, we take advantage of the options, that by offering services to make sure that they voluntarily annex. It's a subdivision covering 40 acres. They're looking at 193 lots.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to G, approval of appointment of a member to the library board. Finally, ma'am. We're still at record pace.
Really? What record?
8:20, man.
Still got executive.
I know that recently you did appoint the library board members,
Yes.
but unfortunately, Ms. Joan Jensen had to resign for personal reasons. Ms. Dora del Toro, who's a regular volunteer with us already, used to work at the library.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and she's been a teacher and other occupations.
Yep.
She would be interested in being on the board. So if you appointed her, her term would end in June 2027.
Yeah, I move for approval.
I have a motion by Dr. Saldana. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, thank you, ma'am. Moving on to number 9, ordinance resolutions.
Did it?
Done.
Yeah, that's
10.
correct. Yeah, man.
Done.
Moving on to item 10, bids and contracts. Present, discuss, consider possible take action regarding approval of bid selection for voluntary products.
Thank you.
Well, I have two.
Could do A and B together, no, Jim?
All right.
Could do A and B together.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm actually introducing item 10A and 10B, so I gave both of them to you now. Item 10A is approval. You went out for bid for the employee voluntary supplemental insurance, including the Section 125 Cafeteria Health and Wellness Program, RFP number 2024-017. Tonight, we're seeking approval for the voluntary product section of that RFP, and we can come back next month on the Section 125 Health and Wellness portion of that RFP. So we had Blue Cross Blue Shield for the voluntary products, American Fidelity, Colonial Life, Manhattan Life, MedMutual, Protect, and Mutual of Omaha. And of the rankings, and because of item B, that will be considered next, in order to reduce the medical renewal, we would have to move dental and the worksite products, life, life, accident, critical illness, and hospital to Blue Cross in order to get pretty much a rate pass for the medical insurance. So Blue Cross is being recommended for those products, and Manhattan Life for cancer, disability, and the supplemental life. Blue Cross's disability was too expensive, and they did not provide cancer or supplemental life.
And is there a savings going this route, or is it more, or is our coverage better, worse? What's the?
It's going to be equivalent to what they have now.
And the cost side, any improvement or?
It'll help our, based off of what she was saying, it'll help our medical rates go down by $1 and change from it going up 20, almost $25 per employee by bundling everything together.
So if we don't do this,
It goes up.
it would go up.
Yeah.
Yes, significantly.
Yvonne, on the fiscal impact, you say there's a decrease of $58.30 per month per employee. That's what is that number based on? Because I know it differs obviously of whether you're employee only or,
Right.
you know,
That's the
which.
employee only rate that the city pays 100% on.
Okay.
But all of the dependent portions of the employees, which is not listed here, all went down at least $1 or change. Nothing went up. Everything went down.
So we were able to gain by bringing a lot of what we had everywhere else except under Blue Cross Blue Shield. So by bundling it and putting under Blue Cross Blue Shield, we were able to gain some price breaks, and that's how we ended up with the savings.
Okay, and
I don't see.
So I want to make sure.
Vision on here. Is it like a rate pass?
Vision is a rate pass. So the products that stayed the same are Vision, which is a rate pass, your basic life, which is with Blue Cross, which is a rate pass, and you offer New York Life as a voluntary product. That is, there's no rate increase on that as well.
What is the rate path? I don't know.
Oh, meaning that the rates
Pass it
stay the
on.
same.
Oh, the rates stay the same?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So
They
ju-
don't go up, they don't go down, they stay exactly
So
the same.
just to clarify, our employees are getting more coverage, but no extra out of cost.
They're getting the same
Same.
coverages,
Same
equivalent,
coverage,
but
okay.
different carriers.
But no, okay. So basically, we're just changing coverages, but we're saving money as a whole, as a city.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And just to be clear, what are your recommendations? We're gonna take 10A and B, so I'll read B in. Approval to renew the medical, dental, and vision, as well as the one I already read. And your recommendation is what?
The recommendation is to move the accident, critical illness, hospital indemnity, and dental to Blue Cross. And then award Manhattan Life with cancer, disability, and the supplemental life in AD&D.
Mayor, make a motion to approve the recommendation.
We have a motion by Commissioner Martinez to approve recommendations on item 10A and B. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Any discussion, further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Item 10C, approval of bid selection for auditing services.
That time again.
Yeah, that time again. So we went out for bids at the beginning of the month. We only received two proposals, which it was from CRI. They're located in McAllen and Harlingen, and Adrian Webb, who has been our auditor for the past 3 years. Yes. So I am recommending to pick Mr. Webb since we've been working with him, and as you know, the sorry, I'm having a
It's okay. So,
a fog right
we've had
now.
a good short history with Mr. Webb. We actually remember when we first started, we were getting the audit towards the end of August.
Mhm.
So it gave us a couple of months only to look at before the year was over. We moved it up to March.
March.
And in
Mhm.
fact, this year, we're gonna move it even further up.
It's a
I've got
challenge.
commitment. It's a challenge. For other reasons, we're looking at some confirmation of revenues that we're considering to be making sure we have the audited reports for our financial advisors.
So he does, I mean, we're content with his work. and
Yes,
so-
sir.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I make a motion to approve, Mr. Webb.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner
I got a
Garcia.
question.
Discussion, go ahead, Commissioner.
Where's EDC in all of this? Are they gonna?
They're included.
They're
on the bid.
included in this
Yeah.
proposal,
Uh-huh.
and then, and their proposals, where could we find those, or were they, I don't remember seeing them in the backup.
Yes, I for some reason they were not in the packet, but I'll make sure to provide them to Jocelyn so.
I
she can
assume he
know.
was the lowest bid as well?
He was.
Okay.
He was, and I think I put it on the item, write up for the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay.
So yeah, they were the lowest bid. And like I said, we had a good relationship with him. And, throughout the year, not only during the audit, throughout the year, he's been very responsive on stuff that we need, especially right now that we went out for the bonds. They help out a lot.
I don't have any doubts about him, but I'd still like to look at what he submitted
Okay.
when you have some time.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Item D, approval of bid selection for City Hall roof repair.
Good
Is that it?
news.
Mr. Posadas?
Mayor, Commission, I've got a presentation on the RFP 2024-19. That's a City Hall roof repair improvements. If you recall, I'll just give you a little bit of history just as a reminder. We came to you a couple of months ago regarding the roof here at the municipal building, your City Hall. If you recall from that one, this is a 10,000 square foot roof that you have. What we were recommending, our architect, which he wasn't able to make it, so I'm gonna go through this myself. The polyurethane roof system. The reason we were going with the polyurethane roof system, it's a more affordable option, and actually it's the same system that you have at the library just south of us here. It adds insulation value. It allows for drainage. You can add more foam and get it to drain a certain direction, and that's what we're going to do. It's an economical solution. Now, for the 10,000 square feet, we estimated when we presented this initially, it was $266,500. This is from our July meeting, July 2nd meeting. As you can see, these nothing has changed. The conditions are the same. That's why I kept the same pictures. You still have some issues up on the roof. So the idea here, we're not going to remove the existing roof. We're going to clean it off, fix whatever has moisture, spray a membrane in between, and then put another foam roof over that. Again, to meet budgetary constraints. So one of the phases is before we could do that, you see these AC units up on top. We talked about the drains up there. They're not connected to any drain. Part of it is to repair that and to seal. That AC unit sits on top of what's called a curb, and some of these are in good shape, some are in bad shape. Like for instance, in this case. Two problems. One is that AC unit is sitting on the side on some timbers. And so the idea is we're going to repair that. We're going to remove the AC unit, put new curbs, and install it the right way. So that's part of the scope that we're doing. So when we started with this project, we had budgets. We had different tasks. We had up to 4 tasks. So I'm just going to compare our bids to what we estimated. So in our bidding for the roof system, of what we presented back in July, it was $286,000. So what we went out and advertised was going to be, in my opinion, around that range. We received a total of 4 bidders. On the far right is my estimate, the 286. The lowest bidder was SLR Roofing out of Edinburgh, Texas, at $122,630. The other 3 were considered, you see the NC at the bottom, that's a non-conforming spec. All the other 3 vendors provided an alternative roofing system. During our pre-bid, we did allow that. We did tell them, look, some of them were saying, well, I can't do a urethane. I can provide another product. It can do it 20 years, similar to what you're doing. But the reason we went with the polyurethane is a more affordable system, right? But we didn't want to not have other bidders, so we entertained their options. Unfortunately, if you look at the pricing, those TPO roofs, which is basically a plastic, if you will, roofing system, you see the second bidder at $233,350. That's approximately $100,000, $110,000 more than the low bidder. And then the next one, $285,000, and then the fourth one was $304,000. So if you look at the very bottom, you'll see the negatives, the reds. That is what's below what we estimated. So the first bidder came in at $163,000 under our estimate. The next one came in at $52,000 under our estimate. The one after that, $400,000, and the fourth one was $18,000 over our estimate.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Not that I don't like, nothing cheap and all, but is there a reason why that bid is so low compared to some of the others, even your own bid?
Correct. We anticipated, I mean, the gentleman that actually gave that bid actually made the assessment to begin with, was the one that gave us the recommendation on the roofing system to begin with, SLR Roofing. He does a lot of work at school districts, various school districts around the valley. In Edinburgh, done quite a few using this system. So we have vetted him. He is a tried and true contractor that's worked on many roofs. We had the same concern. He called us the next day and says, hey, just because I left a lot of money on the table doesn't mean that I can't get this done for the price. That is what it's going to cost. This is an affordable for me, for how I do it. We're going to repair it, and I'm giving you a 20-year warranty on that roof, parts and labor. So I mean, we had our own concerns about it, right? So you see at the bottom, you'll see the breakdown of where everybody was for the 3 items. We are comfortable just because we know who this contractor is. He's going to have payment and performance bonds. He's not going to
So you can speak on his work, basically.
Based on his history, on his submittal, showing his history and the fact that my architect has had very good experience with him, again, at school districts, which are always having roofing issues, right? Here in the valley, we're comfortable recommending him as a low bidder.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I was just gonna make the motion. I mean, I just was curious about the pricing, but I'll make the motion to go ahead and approve SNR.
Motion by Commissioner Martinez,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Howell.
Just one comment, and I know I'm looking at the pricing, and that was a little concern. I was worrisome. I'm not would necessarily say I always look for the lowest bidder, as long as it's fair market value, but quality. I want it to be done right.
Yes, sir.
And as long as what you're saying, you feel comfortable with him, his work history, the warranty, 20 years, that's pretty darn good. And that's it. You feel comfortable with that recommendation?
We do. I'll have something. I did want to add something that I reviewed briefly with Mr. Pettis after the award. I mean, after your motions, I'd like to add a few more comments about.
Go ahead.
I know I had told you the reason we only bid out the roof is because we had a budgetary constraint, but this contractor, we did ask him because we had some other issues inside the building. If you'll see from these pictures, which were presented back in July,
Yep.
we have below the roof, we still have some other issues. We have the ductwork that's not disconnected. In addition to that, we also had talked about the ceiling in the space, the hallways in here. They're 8-foot ceilings. There is an opportunity to raise it to 9 foot, so there was some additional scope. So what we thought about was, well, if we're already doing the roof, could this contractor give us pricing to do? I mean, we've saved quite a bit. He did submit, and you see, also replacing the ceiling tiles, other than just raising it, but replacing the ceiling tiles as we need to after he fixes the ductwork, of course. We had estimated that additional scope at around $76,000, and we requested pricing from him. And there's a reason I'll tell you at the end why I'm bringing this up.
I can't wait.
What's
That's why the price is low, right?
Yeah, well,
No,
no,
no.
he came in at $35,500 for this scope that I had estimated at $76,000. But the reason we were bringing it up today, it's not on the award. We'd have to do like a change order for it. But the reason we wanted to do it is because we're trying to get the funding. I wanted to present it, so it wouldn't be
Yes,
new if we
yeah.
were able to get another meeting or get an approval later.
We got a little extra money if we approve that one.
And we could get the most bang for our buck as well, or extend our savings as well, and fix everything below the roof as well.
Mr. Posada, I have one question, if it's okay with you, Mr.
So isn't it kind of in line with the roof?
Did we already get submissions for it?
Yes, we did. But it would be a change order to the, I mean, it wasn't part of the bid, but I wanted to have it part of the presentation. We can come back with a change order.
The actual change order is an item. Yeah.
Correct,
we could
correct.
do
But
it.
today it's just.
It's just
item on-
presentation.
So
right
let's
now.
just do the roof.
Because we already.
It is
got
just, today you're just considering the roof.
It's only be like 20%. I thought we already had the
Yes, sir.
bids would do it. All right, we'll just do it easy. Okay, what else?
That was it, just the recommending the
question.
122.
So
Thought we could.
what, my understanding is this polyurethane roof is sufficient.
Correct.
It'll do the job. So why, I also assume that there are other places that opt for the TPO, and that seems to be the prevailing preference for some of these contractors. So what do we lose by not spending twice as much?
Money. I mean,
That's it.
that's it. I
I
mean,
mean, the
if we get the-
purpose of a roof is so that it doesn't leak.
Correct.
Yeah.
And this, the polyurethane will do the job. It's a proven system.
Yeah.
I mean, you're using
at
it
the library.
now. You're using it at the library.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's money.
But it's still gonna have
Just because you spend more don't mean you get more.
Yes, and the thermoplastic, I mean, it's a system that's easier. I think more contractors are able to do that. I think the skill level for that is, there's just more people doing
We
it.
did it at one of our jail buildings and it bubbled up and they would not make it good because they said
It's never their fault.
Yep. So I think it's a great idea. I still think, and I know we have a motion in a second, but I still think the pricing is well below the $50,000. I think we should just bring it back for ratification next time, but I think we should accept both of them. So we already got bids anyway, so.
Yeah, I think it's within Mr. Pettis's
Discretion.
I just don't want it to drag on longer because we just keep having one problem. And besides, dry days are becoming a premium now, so. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That's why all of our projects are behind. I was gonna make an explanation right now on the roads because of the daggum rain. 1 minute and then not, and then 1 minute. Happy we're getting it though.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Moving on to item E, approval of memorandum of understanding between CompuDot Inc. and Dr. Hector P. Garcia Memorial Library.
Good evening again. So CompuDot is an organization that was founded in 2007, and their goal is to provide technology and education on that technology to under-resourced communities. They apparently have an office in McAllen, but I've been speaking with the one in Houston, and they will be contracting an instructor to come and do 2 courses that I selected. One was Pathways, and that one's for 16 to 26-year-olds. It'll be a 4-day course. And then they would also be doing another course called Early Adopters for grades 3 to 5. That would be in December after school. The only thing that's required from us is that we provide the space, provide somebody on site to be there with the class, with that instructor, and we need to register 15 students for both. If we do that, they'll go through the courses, and at the end of the courses, they'll also get a free device.
Wow.
Wow.
So, and I don't know if you've seen the post, but we've already posted that we will also be doing a device giveaway with CompuDot.
Those are computers.
They'll be giving
Yeah,
away
I posted it
laptops.
earlier.
They'll be giving away, I think they said 300 laptops, but people have to scan the QR code that they provided me. That one doesn't require the MOU, the classes do. And then they'll have to go through the questions that it asks. CompuDot will be handling the date of the distribution and everything. We were just gonna provide the location.
Can you ask them if they could just add 34 years to the 26?
Make a motion, Mayor.
Qualify. Motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you once again, ma'am. Motion carries. Department monthly report, City Secretary, HR, Recreation Center, Planning, Finance, Library, Public Works, Fire, Police.
How's everybody looking at me?
Bring up Public Works. I do have some stuff for Public Works here. It's gonna be fun.
Hey, Tom, how you doing, brother?
Commissioner Perez, Vela. Did you guys get the report? Great, fantastic,
Beautiful.
awesome. Mayor, for the month of August, we had a total of 392 work orders created. 294 were completed, 63 were pending, carried over, total success rate of 84%. Also on page number 1, we have a little before and after picture of Goza Park, the park facility. We got before and after pictures. The Parks Department did a fantastic job as far as maintaining, keeping the upkeep.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
On the work orders, I noticed the 3 major issues we had was curb scraping, cut grass, pothole patching. On the cut grass, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about along, right of ways or?
Exactly, yes, sir.
Okay, so how does that get determined on what area or what we're gonna do exactly? Cause I've seen certain right of ways, like for example, on mile 1 and 10th Street, the grass is pretty high. And then I do see others where we do cut the grass. So do we have a criteria in place for how we determine what area we're to attack?
Commissioner, we pretty much knock it all out, basically. We just don't have a criteria. We just, if it's in our section of the road, if it pertains to the city, we take care of it.
Okay. And the reason why I ask is that because along 10th Street, heading from Rio Rico to mile 1, there's grass along the road. So I'm like, okay, when are we going to curb scrape that? You have the stop sign for the neighborhood. If you're heading north on mile 1, the grass is about to approach the height of the stop sign. So that's why I'm asking, like, do we have a criteria for stuff like that when we determine, okay, we need to cut this or we don't,
We, once again, Commissioner Martinez, we do take care of it. Once again, well, unfortunately, that's in quadrant 4. We're not there yet, but we should be taking care of it. We create a work order. We'll knock it out. Once again, we're doing it by quadrants.
Yeah.
At the current time. Unfortunately, we're not there yet.
I noticed that you put spraying Roundup. What would that constitute? Like where you?
Well,
put that?
along the curbs, if you got several sidewalks, you see the crevices between the sidewalk and the actual curb,
Yeah.
or even alongside the curb, the sidewalk, you see several crevices. We spray that.
So like the sidewalk right over here where the bridge is at, where you have grass that's been growing in between the bricks like that. That's what you're talking about?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Okay. And how often does that get done?
Once again, we're working in quadrants, Commissioner, so right now, we're working on 2, finishing up 2. Hopefully, we'll be done by the end of this week on quadrant 2, moving to quadrant 3. And during the time that we finish each quadrant, we go back and retouch up the other quadrants that have been completed, so that way they can be completely maintained to some degree. So that's the process we've been doing.
And do you still have the strike team in place, guys?
No, we're just hiring them now. I think they were interviewed.
That is correct.
Okay.
They'll start Monday.
Because I know the strike team would probably be more beneficial to the areas that are more visible, more populated.
I would agree, sir.
Versus to some of the areas that are maybe outside of the city, right? So I was just kind of curious on those things.
Well, Public Works still takes care of those areas, but once again, the Public Works still takes care of those areas outside of the outskirts of.
Yes, sir.
Of this, as long as they're within the city limits.
Yeah.
We're just, once again, Commissioner, we're just taking, the quadrants one by one at the current time.
I applaud that.
But
Thank you.
I do welcome the strike team. I think they'll be a great asset, to the city.
So one of his challenges is the more it rains, the less effective the Roundup is. So he can
Right.
be cleaning the curb on the north quadrant or whatever quadrant. And a month later, because of all the rain, that's no longer effective.
Correct.
So he's got to go touch it up again.
And Johnson grass grows
Yeah.
a foot a week.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. With all the rains that we've been getting.
With all the rain.
I was gonna say, I know about that.
The
Johnson
doc can
grass.
vouch for that.
Yeah, well, like when you go to Disney and it's like,
Go to
hey,
Disney
take a
World
picture.
1 week.
Hey, look at this.
One week, Doc?
Hey, let him have it, Commissioner.
And once again, and with all this rain, it's like adding Miracle Grow to all the grasses. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's hard to catch up.
Gate, by the way, anybody wants to go check it out.
We'll have to explain that to you, Tom, later on.
Okay.
So I know on the positive note, before Commissioner, he's reading all his questions over there. So it's hard to control mosquitoes all the way, but I can tell you, I had a little party at the house, my son did, and the mosquitoes were
Terrible.
no, not for us anyway. It was very livable. I mean, I sprayed my area, just in the little party area, trying to kill flies. That didn't work. I wish we had something for flies, but the mosquitoes were pretty manageable at my place. Yeah, so whatever. I mean, I know you guys got to keep on doing it in the rain. Every time it rains, they come back again and all that stuff. But I just wanted to keep that pressure on.
Thank
on
you.
those things, cause and I know y'all had the machine down or something, one of the guys was
We had it
saying.
down, we just had it, we had it up and running this.
How often after it rains do you spray? I'm just curious.
We actually wait 2-3 days after it rains.
Once they're dry.
And- Exactly, once it
I
dries.
mean, would it be
Eggs need to
beneficial to
hatch,
wait
too.
till a lot of people have an opportunity to cut their
Yep.
grass? I mean, is that something that I don't know. I'm just curious.
Well, thank God we have.
Because
plenty of
everybody's
chemicals,
grass just
so-
grew, so that's what I'm asking.
Right, but we're on top of that. Normally every other day we go out and spray.
So like yesterday, right? That the rain just passed. You're saying about maybe Friday, Saturday. it'd be
Correct,
once-
yes, sir.
Okay.
If it doesn't rain.
Right.
Yeah,
Tuesday we
yeah.
did quadrant 3 and 4. So
And then it rained.
yeah, so what problem?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a problem. Yeah, we need the rain though, right? So
Yes, we do.
catch 22. On the, go ahead, Commissioner Saldana, did you have some?
Just that I love those planning reports, you know, I like knowing how many, permits are being issued in each category and kind of the progress of, you know, the status of some of the developments. That's really, really helpful. So that's great to see, and it really helps keep us sort of caught up with what's going on in the planning department. So that's great. Just want to say that. And that I'm just trying to figure it out, Meredith, but on the tax, it seems like sales tax doubled or almost, it says 77%.
Doc, hang on a second. Let me finish with Tom real quick.
Okay.
So,
Tom looks
yeah, because
nervous,
Tom's been
so-
standing there. Wow.
Tom looks nervous. He
I
wants to
tried
share.
to, I didn't do that well in math in high school, so. Tom, so just real quick, one of the issues I'm having, and I know there's a lot going on, I don't know how many of the people are listening, right, on the Facebook world or our world now. But, so the projects, the road projects that we've had, the Villa Verde subdivision, the streets that we're trying to work on, the patchwork and all that stuff. I'm just, so the rain doesn't allow us to do that work because if we do, it's not gonna hold, correct?
That's correct, sir. Absolutely.
So I know we've said this 100 times, but you know what? If there's one new person out there that's asking it again, I just want to be very clear. I just wanted to make sure that you checked off what I was trying to say is it's not that precinct one's not ready to go. They are at the Colonia or at the subdivision. We have several things that we need to do as well here, but if you all try to take the heavy equipment in there, it's gonna sink instead of do its work.
That is correct.
So I think we're just asking the people to be patient. This water is very, very needed. And, but it's not because people are just standing around not wanting to do the work. If they try to go out there and even just patch a hole right now, that patch is gonna come right out if it's wet. So I just wanted to make sure that, I wanted to clarify that I'm not wrong while you're
No,
there.
you're
That's
absolutely correct. Yes, sir, indeed. You know, unfortunately, these rains have postponed a lot of work that we've been wanting to do. It's just, we want to do the job correctly the
Yeah.
first time.
Oh, and some of the holes too, right, where y'all have dug up?
Yes.
That's another call I get. I don't know if everybody else is getting that. Y'all dig up broken lines, but it's gotta dry out before you
Exactly.
fill it, right?
Yes, sir, indeed. I know we've been getting a lot of calls with, you know, with dirt still being, or just manhole cover still being open for, you know, after we do a water break, manhole, locate as well. It's just, it takes time for it to let the dirt dry so we can cover it up, add some sand, add some caliche, put the dirt back on. It's just,
Because there's a process. You
That
just
is
don't put the
correct.
dirt back in. You gotta pack
If not,
the,
it doesn't
to
come back
strengthen the
correctly.
pipe and all that stuff,
if we
correct?
don't let it dry correctly, Mayor, it would just create a sinkhole pretty much. So, you know, there is a process to it.
Okay, all right, thank you, Tom.
Have you done
Appreciate it.
any more projects with that patch hole, that pothole patcher?
Unfortunately, we haven't.
Have not, okay.
Commissioner. No, sir. Unfortunately,
Okay.
that one that we still have on.
Right.
God.
Oh, Francis,
43.
Francis and Georgia.
Right.
Yeah, we can't get to it just with the rain. It's just,
Yeah,
it's not,
yeah.
it's not, the
There's
rain's not
several.
cooperating.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
But that one, they had already put caliche, it was ready to go,
Yeah, it was
right?
ready to go.
When
It's
I
just,
drove by there, it was awesome, and then all of a sudden, hey, what's up here?
It's one of those jobs that, you know, we need to wait for it to dry up, so, you know, patch it up correctly. If not, it's gonna go south on us.
Well, thank the guys for trying.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm sorry, Commissioner, go ahead, Doc.
No.
You were Meredith?
Oh,
chopping
yeah,
block?
yeah. Well, the 77% is what they said, the increase in sales tax revenue is, so that's from,
Can you step up, Mer?
so 100% would represent a doubling.
Double.
So it's gone up 77% since last year?
Yes. that is-
Good Lord have mercy. Where's all that money?
Yeah.
Next year. Albert's coordinate.
We
That's
didn't go up that much.
that much.
Meredith, we need to talk.
Numbers.
Okay.
Numbers lie, numbers lie.
Modify the numbers. No, but yeah, we had an increase of 3.7 million from last year. which is good.
3.7 million, okay.
I see even the municipal
That's-
court got their money in too, right? They got 7,000 in August.
The 7,000,
funds?
oh, for municipal court, yes. Yeah.
Oh,
we've
what
been
was that,
collecting a
Mitch?
little
No,
more.
no, the court brought in 7,000 in a month.
Mhm.
That's why it's been raining.
So, I think in saying that about the, sales tax, we need to make sure that again, that we clarify that sales tax can fluctuate unlike housing. So right now, the idea is to invest that money well so that we create housing and buildings and stuff like that, commercial buildings.
Don't rely.
That'll be stagnant numbers that, I mean, not stagnant, I'm sorry, static numbers that we can see the tax for, right?
Correct. And you have to consider too that we for next fiscal year, we kind of project the increase a little bit. So we use kind of that money for our expenditures throughout the year.
Conservative, of course.
Yeah, conservative. Yeah.
Nope.
All right, thank you, Meredith, appreciate you.
But overall, we have a shortfall.
It's always
Anybody
a dark
else?
Cloud.
Is there any other questions? Moving on to executive session, we have, item 12, A, B, and C. Discussion with city manager regarding personnel matters, consultation with attorney regarding updated litigation, and consultation with attorney regarding contracts. Do I have a motion for
Mayor,
executive
make a
session?
motion to go to, executive.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Howell. Those in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. It is, 8:55. We're in executive session.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. Alright, good evening. It's 9:37. I call this meeting back in order. I believe we have no action. So I'd entertain item number 14, adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
A motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned. It is 9:38 p.m.
God bless Mercedes and go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Hey, who we got this week, man?